You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 769. Chapter 769, Chapter 194, Heartwarming Rumors 2. Su Yu did not say anything and said directly, "Let's not talk nonsense. Do you have any essence blood? I want to open my acupoints as soon as possible so that I can successfully cultivate the heaven-splitting blade." The competition was only on the 20th, and there was still a week left. You swallowed gold. Xia Huyo sighed. He really knew how to spend money. Su Yu could not be bothered with him. I earned it myself, so why do you care how I spend it? The mountain-breaking bull met you, so it's considered unlucky. Xia Huyo muttered a few times, but Su Yu pretended not to hear him. If you have the ability, then don't sell it. What else could he say if he sold it? Su Yu had been buying blood essence for quite a few days. Xia Huyo knew that he needed this. After all, with the heaven-cleaving saber in hand, this fellow would definitely not be able to resist cultivating. He followed Xia Huyo to retrieve the blood essence from him. There were 200 drops of mountain-breaking ox's 10,000 stone late-stage blood essence, which was worth 4,000 merit points. Xia Huyo also bought 20 drops of 10,000 stone realm blood essence for Su Yu, which was exactly 5,000 merit points. This fellow would never give an extra point. He was very clear about the accounts. Su Yu was too lazy to say anything and went straight to the Mystic Realm Zone. This kid is here again. Yuan Qi Mystic Realm. Elder Huang sighed and packed up his things. He was already prepared to leave. Old Nie, what's so good about this inspector's office? It's better to be carefree here. All of you insist on supporting me. Elder Nie said indifferently, then I won't go. Forget it, I'll force myself to go. Elder Huang laughed dryly. Not going? What kind of joke was this? After suffering for decades, this bastard old Nie was a pavilion elder, but he wasn't. Now was the chance. Even if this old man wanted to play the pavilion elder, he still had to take up the post. Taking advantage of the fact that Su Yu hadn't entered, Elder Huang said in a low voice, "When can you enter the mountains and seas?" No rush. Elder Nie wasn't in a hurry. He sent a voice transmission, "After studying that Yuan character for so many years, you haven't found anything? You are saying?" Elder Huang's eyes flickered as he sent a voice transmission, "You want to outline the battle technique of the divine language divine language? Even if you don't outline the battle technique, you still have to form a complete system and fuse it." Elder Nie did not hide anything. This Yuan character is not a single divine language, but a mixture of several divine languages. After so many years, you should have noticed it. The multi-divine text lineage still has a few tricks up their sleeves. Therefore, the multi-divine text lineage cannot be destroyed. The reason why I asked you to replace old he is also for this. We can suppress the single divine text lineage. The attitude of the higher-ups is unclear now, but since we have discovered something, we cannot allow the multi-divine text lineage to truly be destroyed. After guarding the mystic realm for too many years, everyone knew that the first and third generation mystic realms belonged to the multi-divine text lineage, but the fourth generation mystic realms belonged to the single divine text lineage. The Yuan Qi mystic realm belonged to the fourth generation. Logically speaking, the fourth generation mystic realm was only made up of one divine rune. However, after decades of research, they discovered something amiss. The fourth generation divine runes were actually not made up of one divine rune, but were formed from the fusion of several divine runes. This was ridiculous. The fourth generation was a true expert of the single divine runes. Although they loved forging and were said to be forging weapons, they did not have any achievements in forging. They were still experts of the single divine runes. This meant that the fourth generation had also been researching the fusion of divine languages in the past and had some achievements. This was a big difference. It meant that after the fourth generation reached the sun and moon, they were also walking the path of multi-divine languages. Elder Huang nodded. He transmitted his voice, I know what I'm doing. However, I can't be too biased. The multi-divine languages definitely cannot be allowed to continue being suppressed by others. I will clean up the inspectorate properly. I will do my best to weaken the single divine languages by the end of the year and also protect Chen Yong's side. Elder Nie nodded and said, there's no need to be too deliberate. They're not that weak. The two of them chatted for a while before Suyu entered. The moment Suyu entered, he saw the luggage beside Elder Huang and asked curiously, Teacher Huang is going on a long trip? No. Elder Huang said calmly, change to another place. From now on, Elder Nia will guard this side. I'll go somewhere else to muddle my time. Elder Huang, where are you going? Suyu was curious. Would this teacher who was guarding the secret realm change shifts? He heard that these two had been guarding this place for many years. The Inspector General's office. Elder Huang said calmly, I said I didn't want to move. The academy insisted that I take charge of the Inspector General's office. Troublesome. Suyu looked at him in a daze. The Inspector General's office. Take charge of the Inspector General's office. What a joke. Previously, Chen Yong had told him that the director of the inspector's office was a cabinet elder. What did that mean? Elder Huang seemed to have seen through what he was thinking. He was secretly pleased with himself. You are usually arrogant and provoke us every day. This time, it's your turn to be shocked, isn't it? Yes, I'm going to be a cabinet elder. Elder Huang said impatiently, I don't want to go at all. Being a cabinet elder is so boring. Besides, I'm only at the 9th level of Lingyun realm after all. It's meaningless to be a cabinet elder like this. Although the inspector's office is still relatively free, it's still busy with official business. It's troublesome. Suyu blinked. The next moment, he said enthusiastically, Elder Huang, no, Elder Huang. Elder Huang is really amazing. He actually took charge of the Inspector General's office. Elder Huang, was the Inspector General's office the one leading the inspection at the end of the year? Elder Huang said calmly, yes, it's troublesome. What's the matter? It's nothing, it's nothing. Teacher Huang, you're really amazing. Suyu thought about it and was secretly shocked. This gatekeeper was a pavilion elder in the blink of an eye. F***ck. What was going on? He really did not know the situation. The information of the pavilion elders in the secret realm region was not too clear, and most of the students did not know which pavilion elders there were. They only knew that there were 6 non-Shanghai pavilion elders in the academy. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 770. Chapter 770, Chapter 194 Heartwarming Rumors 3. Who would have thought that this old man in front of him would suddenly become a cabinet elder? The inspector's office. Last time, Xia Yuan had said that he was an inspector of the inspector's office. His authority was quite great. The person in front of him was even the director of the inspector's office. Amazing. Elder Huang had a leisurely expression. Was he shocked? Was he shocked? I've become an elder. Of course, the old man sitting next to him was already an elder, so Elder Huang couldn't be bothered to talk about it. He didn't continue talking about this. Looking at Suyu, Elder Huang asked, are you going in to cultivate again? Are you preparing to enter 10,000 stones? No, I'm preparing to cultivate a new cultivation technique. New cultivation technique? It was a little unexpected. Suyu thought of something again and hurriedly said, it's a heaven-rank cultivation technique, but it's not passed down from the invincible inheritance. It's the peak of the sun and moon. There won't be any problems, right? There seemed to be a problem last time. Was he alright this time? He had brought the text of will with him. Elder Huang's heart was tired. I had just put on an act, but this kid turned around and slapped me in the face. Was a heaven-rank cultivation technique worthless? Was peak of sun and moon worthless? It's not a big problem. As long as the cultivation technique doesn't form an independent space, it shouldn't be a big problem. That's good. Thank you, teacher. Su Yu heaved a sigh of relief. Elder Huang asked curiously, what cultivation technique? Of course, if it's a secret, there's no need to mention it. It's not a secret. It's a common cultivation technique, heaven-cleaving blade. You call this a common cultivation technique? Fine, you're awesome. The cultivation technique of the Xia family wasn't passed down to just anyone. It seemed like the Xia family also felt that this fellow was worth nurturing, so they passed it down. After chatting for a while, Su Yu said, Teacher, I have a friend who is from Zhangjin College. He wants to enter the secret realm area. He has Teacher Zhao's token. Can he enter? Old Zhao's token. Elder Huang thought for a moment and said, logically speaking, he should only allow people from the college to enter. The main reason is that he is afraid that people from the Myriad clan cult will sneak in. However, if you vouch for him, if something happens to the secret realm, you can compensate him with an eternal divine prose in the future. That won't be a problem. Elder Nie glanced at him and didn't say anything. Logically speaking, even if someone from Zhangjin College had a token, it wouldn't be so easy to enter. They would need to be vetted. It would be best if there was a mountain and sea from Zhangjin College to vouch for him. Only then would they be able to enter. However, after thinking for a moment, he decided to forget about it. Elder Zhao was optimistic about Su Yu's side. Since he felt that there was no problem, they couldn't be bothered to say anything. Understood, thank you, teacher. Su Yu hurriedly thanked him. Elder Huang was too lazy to say anything else. After receiving 100 merit points, he kicked this fellow in, he said unhappily, when Elder Zhao's token was in his hands, he borrowed it everywhere. Elder Zhao lent it to him. This fellow really doesn't think much of it. Since he was able to enter on his own, he borrowed it to be used by others. Elder Zhao didn't even say anything, so what can you say? Elder Nie didn't really care, he exhorted again, go to the inspector's office, especially since the end of the year inspection is coming soon. Investigate carefully, don't learn from Elder He. Elder He and Mud are really good, don't learn from him. The academy should be cleaned up, and the end of the year inspection, it's best to make an example out of the others. Now, some people in the academy have forgotten about the inspector's office. The first round of inspection feels like it's just a formality. This year, let them know that it's not just a formality. I know. The two of them chatted and then looked at the entrance of the mystical realm. It was unknown how long that kid would be staying in this time. The school of Shan Shenwen was about to organize a spot competition. Looking at Su Yu's current state, it was likely that he had come to learn the heaven-splitting blade at this juncture to prepare for this competition. At the same time, in the research building of the school of Shan Shenwen. In the office. Zhou Pingxing looked at the few young students in front of him, he said slowly, although teacher agreed to give up 5 spots, he did not say that he must give them to others. The best result would be that all of them would be taken back by our own people. Even if they are not our people, we cannot let those hostile students take them away. The few of you are quite strong among the young students. However, even Zhai Feng might not be able to win against those senior students. Zhai Feng was a little unconvinced, but he did not say anything. It made sense. Those old fellows were all older than his grandfather. He felt a little ashamed that they still came to compete. You might not be able to win. It doesn't matter. All of you are not weak. If you really encounter a strong one, you can exhaust them to death. As he said that, He continued, this time, the ones who are mainly stopping are Su Yu and the others. He Chi, Wu Yuehua, and the others only got one spot. I don't think they will be satisfied. Your goal is to stop them from taking advantage of the situation. In the end, they managed to get a spot. Zhai Feng nodded and said, Teacher, Su Yu did not sign up. Will he not participate? It's possible. Zhou Pingxing was not sure either. He thought for a moment and said, if he comes, he will be in big trouble. If he doesn't come, then he won't be able to enter the Sea of Consciousness mystic realm. When you guys enter, then come out. If you are lucky, you will be able to soar into the sky. If you are unlucky, you will be able to reach the peak of recuperation. At that time, you don't have to care too much about him. Although he said that, Zhou Pingxing actually hoped that Su Yu would come. This guy had seriously injured several single divine literature department geniuses. This time, there were many people participating in the competition, and there were many experts. Even if Zhan Hai came, he might not be able to secure the first place. Su Yu came, and he secretly made some moves, making him unable to bear the consequences. As he said that, Zhou Pingxing said again, this time, Hong Tan also got a spot. Obviously, it's for Wuxia. Wuxia couldn't enter the top 100. But if she enters the Sea of Consciousness mystical realm and becomes stronger, you guys might not be able to stop her from entering the top 100. When Hong Tan returns, her Sea of Consciousness injuries might also recover. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 771. Chapter 771, Chapter 194, Heartwarming Rumors 4. Zhai Feng could not help but say, why would Grandmaster give them the spot? Wujia's strength has increased, so it's obviously much more difficult to stop her from entering the top 100. This was very disadvantageous to his teacher. Originally, if Wujia did not make the list, Zhou Pingxing had a high chance of becoming the curator, and he could even take the opportunity to become a branch master and become a pavilion elder. But now, it was difficult. Your grandmaster has his own considerations. Zhou Pingxing was naturally dissatisfied. However, he could not change it. It was decided by his master and a few pavilion elders. Zhou Pingxing was too lazy to talk about this anymore. He quickly said, after Wujia's injuries are healed, she won't be staying in the library for a long time. Compared to that little fox, Su Yu, Wujia is much more immature. Your grandmaster has personally taken care of junior brother Huang's injuries. He has almost recovered. Recovered? Zhai Feng was a little surprised. He had recovered from such a serious injury. What kind of price must he pay? Grandmaster was really willing to pay. Zhou Pingxing glanced at him and ignored him. He continued, Wujia hates your junior brother. After all, she was almost crippled the last time. If you have time, accompany your junior brother for a walk. When you met Wujia, you don't need me to teach you. It's best to cripple her before she enters the Sea of Consciousness mystic realm. As he spoke, his eyes were vicious as he said, remember, you have to follow the rules. Let the multi-divine literature department not find any faults. Your junior brother Huang did well before. If it wasn't for Su Yu, they wouldn't have the chance to turn the tables. He still admired Huang Qifeng very much. Although he wasn't his own student and was Zheng Yuming's student, it didn't stop him from admiring him. His strength was a little inferior, and his luck was also a little inferior. However, he struck the right spot. If Su Yu had not suddenly appeared, Wujia would not have been able to make it onto the list this year. Even if Hong Tan came back, the result would still be the same. Is junior brother Huang willing? Zhai Feng was not sure. After being beaten up by Su Yu last time, would Huang Qifeng still dare to show his face? It's within the rules. What's there to be afraid of? Zhou Pingxing snorted coldly and said, are we really going to wait for their faction to turn the tables? Once the divine literature faction revives, with their talent and strength, at least 30% of the resources of the Divine Literature Academy will be given to them. Do you think that at that time, you will still be like this? One by one, there will be no shortage of cultivation techniques, no shortage of soldiers, no shortage of pills, no shortage of divine talismans. Zhou Pingxing snorted. When that time comes, your days will not be so easy. Everyone's hearts froze. Zhou Pingxing waved his hand and said, "Go, do as I say." In addition, in terms of picking a fight, I believe that you guys are no worse than Su Yu. Su Yu can incite the entire academy to target you guys, but can't you pick the academy to target Su Yu and Wuxia? Are they all trash? Zhai Feng thought for a moment, nodded and said, "Teacher, I understand. Don't worry, this time, we definitely won't let Wuxia have the chance to enter the Sea of Consciousness mystic realm. Go." Zhou Pingxing did not say much and sent a few of his students away. After they left, he frowned. He did not know what his teacher was thinking. The position of the branch master was uncertain. On the side of the library pavilion, because Xia Yuan was injured, his teacher started to waver. The key was that the position of the library pavilion's head was for him, not for Xia Yuan. Without the position of the head, how could he enter the pavilion? Even if he became the branch master, the chances of him becoming one were not high. Master is more concerned about him entering the sun and moon by himself, not us. Zhou Pingxing snorted in his heart, including the fact that he had previously said that he was going to dig out the divine inscriptions for Senior Zheng. What was the result? Up until now, Zheng Yiming was still lying on the ground, and the divine inscriptions had shattered. If this continued, he might not be able to survive if he was sent to the heavenly battlefield. He knocked on the table and thought for a moment. Zhou Pingxing's eyes flickered. Perhaps, it was time for him to do something. He couldn't keep counting on his master. At the very least, he had to secure the position of the head of the academy. Get 10 people to block Wujia's path to the top 100. Put Su Yu above the 90th place. If he doesn't fall, it's for the best that Wuxia doesn't make it up. This was the best plan. It was the best choice to not let Wuxia make it onto the list before the end of the year. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for Chen Yong to be chased away. However, the prerequisite was that Wuxia could not defeat these 10 people. Wujia's injuries had recovered, and her strength was not weak either. Unless she was injured again, there were not many people below the top 100 who could defeat Wuxia. In the next moment, he thought of one person. Zhou Hao. That was a truly ruthless character. His injuries last time were not light, but Xia Yuan was not short of money, so it was not too difficult for her to recover from her injuries. Zhou Hao seemed to have almost recovered recently. Zhou Hao. That kid came out from the nest of demon beasts. He killed without batting an eye. It's normal for him to accidentally kill Wuxia. As for killing him, that's also Zhou Hao and Xia Yuan's business. However, he couldn't do it himself, lest he was caught. Lu Hong. Zhou Pingxing thought of this fellow. There were some things that could be done by this fellow. Su Yu was still in closed-door cultivation. At the same time, some rumors started to spread in the academy. While Wuxia was walking, he heard someone whispering, "I heard that Wuxia wasn't there when the Sea of Consciousness mystical realm was opened this time." In the end, the polytheistic department sacrificed Su Yu to get a spot for Wuxia. It's a pity that Su Yu. Last time, he fought Zhou Hao and Qiu Yun for Wuxia. His arm was broken, but he was abandoned just like that. Su Yu offended so many people, but wasn't it all for Wuxia? Otherwise, with Su Yu's strength and talent, how could the Holy Pros faction not support Su Yu? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 772. Chapter 772, Chapter 194, Heartwarming Rumors 5. That's true. Tell me, why did the Department of Multiple Divine Languages give up on Suyu and support Wuxia? It's a woman. Who knows what's going on? You know it. Hee hee. Wuxia's face turned livid. She suddenly looked at those people and said angrily, "What did you say?" When they saw her, they quickly dispersed and did not reply. Wuxia was so angry that she wanted to explode. She wanted to chase after her, but after some thought, she gave up and stomped her feet in anger. Along the way, such rumors and slander kept entering her ears. Wuxia was really furious to death. And it was getting more and more unbearable. She suppressed her anger and prepared to return to the library. However, she met a few more people on the way. Huang Qifeng. Zhai Feng. A bunch of bastards. At this moment, Huang Qifeng's face was still pale. His injuries had not fully recovered. At this moment, when he saw Wuxia, he was filled with resentment. His sea of consciousness was about to recover, but the divine script was shattered by Suyu that day. This was not a problem of recovery, but he needed to resketch it himself. In this way, it would take him at least 1.5 years to resketch the divine script. When he saw Wuxia, Huang Qifeng sneered, "Go to the library. The students have their own residences, but some people treat the library as their home. A man and a woman, TSK, that's true. Otherwise, with the addition of the divine script, they would not have helped her fight for a spot in the Sea of Consciousness arcane realm." Zhai Feng laughed lightly. "Junior brother, stop talking." Suyu stood up for her. "There's nothing we can do about it. That's martial ant. B****, what did you say?" Wuxia was furious. She wanted to kill someone. They were making up the relationship between her and her master. B****. She wanted to kill them. Huang Qifeng coughed lightly. His face was pale, his eyes were dark. "What? And you don't allow people to speak? When did the Multidivine Literature Department become so overbearing?" The book collection pavilion was more like a place that hid filth and dirt. If one didn't do something shameful, would they be afraid of others saying it? A man and a woman alone, who knew what they were doing there every day. I was wondering why Suyu was so ruthless. He didn't dare to not be ruthless. "You're bullshitting." Wuxia was furious, and Huang Qifeng smiled. He said lightly, "Then just take it as I'm ***t. But the students of the academy all know very well that if Suyu didn't let him in, you would have gotten a spot in the Sea of Consciousness mystical realm. You didn't even get by Feng." Wuxia was furious and said anxiously, "That's because you guys blocked junior brother from entering. Didn't Suyu offend the dean because he stood up for you?" Huang Qifeng chuckled. "In the end, the source isn't you. Wuxia, why are you pretending to be innocent? Why are you pretending to be innocent? Once you become a Biaozi, don't be so naive. I'll kill you." Wuxia flew into a rage. As soon as the literary soldiers appeared, she wanted to kill someone. She was truly furious. These people slandered her, her teacher, and her junior. Huang Qifeng narrowed his eyes and sneered. He took a few steps back while Zhai Feng and the others were eager to give it a try. In fact, some of them even wanted her to make a move and kill her immediately. In the academy, anyone who made a move against a student could be treated as a member of the 10,000 races even if they were not in the arena. Even if they killed her, it would be in vain. At this moment, someone passed by and shouted, "What are you doing? Are you fighting in the academy? Do you want to die? It's so messy." Wuxia woke up and turned to look. Zhang Hao was talking to a few talented students over there. He looked at them and frowned. "It's so messy. Anyone can enter the academy. What are you looking at?" He snorted and walked past them. The other students also looked at them with disdain. The academy was made into a mess by these people. Junior Zhang was right. Zhai Feng and the others frowned and looked at Zhang Hao. They cursed him in their hearts. Bastard, he ruined their plan. However, they did not think too much about it. A monstrous genius like Zhang Hao, the treasure of the Divine Talisman Academy, had always been so arrogant. Even if Zhai Feng was stronger than him, it was normal for him to look down on him. Nowadays, many senior students of the Divine Talisman Academy revolved around him. At this moment, Wuxia had also sobered up a little. Although he was still angry, he knew that he was courting death if he made a move here. He gritted his teeth and said, "You bastards, just you wait." Huang Qifeng also felt a little regretful. He laughed sarcastically and said, "Wait for you to find Su Yu to take revenge on us. Hee, it's not enough to sleep with master, but you still want to sleep with junior brother. I'll kill you." Wu Jia was losing control. His willpower burst out. Zhai Feng was about to make a move when someone not far away said with a smile, "Let's spar in the arena." "What are you playing below the stage? I'll be your referee. How about a life and death battle?" Zhai Feng was so angry that he wanted to explode. Damn it, who was it? On the other side, Zhao Ming was casually drinking a drink. He laughed and said, "Wu Jia, where did your junior brother go? We agreed to fight in the top 100 rankings in 3 days. I've been waiting for a few days already. Where is he? Come out quickly and give me something to do." After being interrupted twice, Wu Jia finally regained her composure this time. She glared angrily at the few of them and ignored Zhao Ming. She lowered her head and headed back. She knew that these bastards wanted to provoke her into making a move, but she really could not hold it in any longer. She was about to explode from anger. Going up the arena, she was no match for Zhai Feng. Moreover, she did not have the qualifications to challenge Zhai Feng. Huang Qifeng, that bastard, would definitely not dare to go up the arena. Zhai Feng and Huang Qifeng were also depressed. Zhao Ming. Damn it. This fellow came over to cause trouble again. It seemed that today's matter was over. Zhai Feng gave Huang Qifeng a glance. There was no rush. With Wu Jia's fiery temper, she would explode sooner or later if she could hold on for a few days. The few of them did not say anything and left quickly. After they left, Zhao Ming frowned slightly and looked in the direction where Wu Jia had left. This little girl was not very strong, but she had a fiery temper. The Divine One faction alone could not deal with the others, but now, they had their eyes on Wu Jia. Who asked the Divine One faction to either not show up, to not be able to endure to scare people, or to be a little fox like Su Yu. After thinking about it, Wu Jia was indeed the best breakthrough point. Chen Yong. Glancing at the distant book collection pavilion, Zhao Ming muttered. He couldn't do anything about this. If he saw it, he could still block it. If he didn't see it, he couldn't keep following her. Wu Jia, this girl, you should restrain yourself. If it were Su Yu, that sly kid, he probably wouldn't take it seriously at all. At the same time, in the Mystic Realm area, a jade talisman on Su Yu's body vibrated. Su Yu was slightly stunned. He could also send messages in the Mystic Realm. He thought that he would be isolated. It seemed that this voice transmission jade talisman was quite effective. Thinking to himself, Su Yu opened the jade talisman and took a look. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. He was courting death. After being beaten up by him, Huang Qifeng still dared to show himself. Was he really not afraid of death? There was also Zhai Feng. Did these ******** really think that he did not dare to kill? Life and death arena. A word flashed across Su Yu's mind. Didn't he want his teacher to sign it? If not for Bai Feng not being around last time, he would have beaten that fellow Zhou Hao to death. As expected, one must eradicate the root of the problem. Su Yu gnashed his teeth. These people had been beaten to such a state by him, yet they still dared to show their faces. They really didn't know whether they were dead or alive. Grandmaster said that the single divine text faction was a shield, but this shield didn't know whether they were dead or alive. If they didn't know their limits, then they should be killed and replaced with a shield. After some thought, Su Yu sent a voice transmission to Xia Huyo. Although that guy didn't invite him to join the association, that guy saw that he had given Chen Hao a voice transmission talisman and insisted that Su Yu give it to him. Su Yu didn't say much, and now he could send a voice transmission. The other people in the association didn't have the ability to stop him, so Xia Huyo should be able to think of a way to stall him for a few days. When I get out, I'll take care of all of you. Su Yu's eyes flickered, and a fierce light spread out. At this moment, he didn't open the heavenly blade aperture, but the body strengthening technique. At this moment, Su Yu had opened a total of 210 apertures. The body strengthening technique was almost complete. Once he was done, he would open the heavenly blade aperture. At most, he would be able to leave the mystic realm in 3 days. Reasonable killing. In the life and death arena, or the audience will take the initiative to attack me. Last time, he had almost provoked Zhai Feng to attack him. That fellow Zhai Feng's brain was just like that, and he had a fiery temper. Su Yu secretly calculated for a moment. Huang Qifeng, Zhai Feng, Zhou Pingsheng. A list of names flashed in his mind. These guys were really reckless. For the position of the curator, they were completely shameless. Huang Qifeng's teacher, Zheng Yuming, was seriously injured. This fellow appeared this time probably because he knew that he had no one to rely on, so he wanted to get on Zhou Pingsheng's good side. Chen Qi. Another name appeared in his mind. He could investigate the situation and ask these guys what they were most afraid of. I let you cannot enter the arcane realm, you will be finished. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 773. Chapter 773, Chapter 195 Uncle Master 1. Book Collection Pavilion. On the top floor. Chen Yong was silent for a while, then he sighed lightly and said, "Don't go out for the time being. Go into seclusion and cultivate. Wait until the Sea of Consciousness mystical realm opens, then directly enter the mystical realm to cultivate." Master. Wuxia said angrily, "They are spreading rumors, and the entire academy has spread it." She was very angry, very angry. Those bastards were too much of a bully. They want to destroy you, do you understand? Chen Yong sighed, and Wuxia said angrily, "I know, I want to fight Huang Qifeng in the arena of life and death. Although Huang Qifeng's divine text was crippled by your junior brother, his physical strength is still there. Even if you fight in the arena of life and death, you might not be able to defeat him. Then fight to the death." What a headache. Chen Yong glanced at his disciple. He was stubborn and stubborn. After getting angry, Wuxia hurriedly said, "Master, they humiliated you. You're a researcher, can't you get even with them? Last time, that Xia Yuan punished junior brother for meritorious points." Chen Yong said softly, "They didn't name him. They even scolded me directly." Wuxia was unconvinced. How could they not point out his name? Chen Yong rubbed his forehead and said after a long while, "You can look for them, but the merit points will be the maximum. Do you understand?" Wuxia looked at him and didn't understand. In any case, he had to take revenge. He could also find some merit points. Seeing that his disciple still didn't understand, Chen Yong sighed and said, "It's so tiring to talk about this with you." He despised her. Wuxia felt wronged. This time, she felt that she had been despised. Chen Yong let out a light breath and waved his hand. "Go back and rest. I got it. Don't go out for the next 2 days." "Master." Are you disobedient? Wuxia had no choice but to enter the room indignantly. In her heart, she was still indignant. Her junior brother was not around. Otherwise, he would definitely beat those bastards to death. It was a pity that she was too weak. It was so infuriating. After Wu Jia left, Chen Yong shook his head. He was also thinking that it would be easier to communicate with Su Yu if he was around. After pondering for a moment, a voice transmission jade talisman appeared in Chen Yong's hand. After fiddling with it for a while, he kept the jade talisman and continued to close his eyes. This disciple of his really didn't have enough patience. Civilized Academy. Have you heard? What? Big gossip. Did you know? In the academy, male researchers accept female students with malicious intentions. I heard that they all have that kind of relationship. Female researchers accept male students as well. I can't believe it. Our academy's reputation has been completely tarnished. Really? Really? It was absolutely true. It was spread by the Divine Literature Department themselves. Just like the one in the library pavilion, NU. Cough cough, that pavilion elder also has male students, and many more. Damn, I only know now why no one has taken me in as a student. No way. So that's how it is. I was saying that the students of those researchers are all handsome men and beautiful women. The Great Xia Civilization Academy's reputation is completely tarnished. It's not just our academy. I heard that the other academies are all like this. October 15th. Early in the morning, a piece of news broke out. The entire Great Xia Civilization Academy, and even the entire Great Xia Academy, was spreading such rumors. As long as the students and researchers were of the opposite sex, they definitely had an improper relationship. This news wasn't something that was spread blindly by ordinary people. It was spread by the Great Xia Civilization Academy's single department of divine runes. It spread like wildfire, and some people even said that they had seen it with their own eyes. For example, that person in the library pavilion had such a relationship with his student. Furthermore, it spread more and more widely. It wasn't just that person, many others were as well. For example, Elder Wu Yuehua, Elder Qi, and even Principal Wan had some gossip. It had been many years since Wan Tiansheng had taken in female students. As for Wan Mingze, everyone had completely ignored him. But rumor had it, it was only rumor that Principal Wan had an illicit relationship with a few female pavilion elders. Not only that, some of the female researchers in the academy also had some sort of relationship with Principal Wan. In the academy, any female student who became the disciple of a male researcher wouldn't be able to escape such rumors. Even the Ji family's Ji Xiaomeng was rumored to have an unclear relationship with her teacher. The news spread throughout the entire Grand Xia Manor overnight. Now, even outside the academy, some passers-by in the Grand Xia Manor knew about this matter. It had already become the biggest scandal in the entire Grand Xia Manor. Once it was confirmed, the entire Grand Xia Manor's various academies would become the laughingstock of the entire human realm. Bastard. Nonsense. Heart Cultivation Pavilion. Several pavilion elders flew into a rage and directly went to the office of the head of the mansion early in the morning. A pavilion elder with a bad temper even smashed the entire table with a single palm. He angrily said, "Bastard. They're going too far. They're fighting against each other, and we've already stopped taking care of things for the past few years. Other than teaching a few students, we don't care about anything else. Now, don't tell me that they're going to take care of us as well. What does the Divine Literature Department want to do? Catch them all in one fell swoop? Doesn't anyone in their department accept students of the opposite sex?" The elders were furious. Wan Tiansheng wasn't angry either. He said softly, "Old Zhou isn't that stupid. Everyone, what's in it for him to spread rumors like this?" Elder Qi scolded, "What's in it for him? What's in it for him?" This bunch of idiots originally wanted to spread the rumors to Qinyong's side, but in the end, a bunch of idiots down there capsized and spread the rumors. How could it not spread? They didn't believe Zhou Mingren's arrangement. But it was normal for those idiots at the bottom to do anything stupid. Originally, they were probably people who spread multiple divine runes. But once this thing was spread, how could it not be expanded? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 774. Chapter 774, Chapter 195. Uncle Master Chiu. Subscribe, 2. If you said that Qinyong and Wuxia were having an affair, then what about the others? How could outsiders not make a connection? Elder Qi flew into a rage and said, "Now, the Great Xia Civilization Academy has become a joke. Wan Tiansheng, do you know what the outside world is saying? Why don't we just change the name of the Great Xia Civilization Academy to the Great Xia Teacher-Student Academy? Do you think that's a good thing?" At the side, another pavilion elder also said angrily, "B*****. How could these words be said casually? Old Wan, if you don't give an explanation today, not to mention others, you won't even be able to answer to the strong education department. Find the culprit who spread the rumors, chop off his head, and deal with him seriously." The few of them were very angry. This matter was no longer a matter of rumors. Now, the entire Great Xia Manor was spreading the news. If this continued, the reputation of the Great Xia Institute of Civilization would really be completely tarnished. In the future, who would still dare to register for the Great Xia Civilization Academy? If these pavilion elders went out and went to other manors or to seek enlightenment realm, they would probably be laughed at by others. Even if it was fake, as the rumors spread, it would become real. There were even pavilion elders who said angrily, "Why doesn't Zhou Mingren's faction dare to spread the news about him, Zhou Mingren? He even took in Xia Chan from the Xia family, why doesn't anyone dare to spread the news? In the end, we are the ones who are being wronged. Zhou Mingren is hanging high and mighty, is there nothing wrong with him?" Wan Tiansheng had a headache. He said softly, "Stop quarreling. This matter has been known to all the streets and alleys overnight. Even the Great Xia Mansion has spread it. I'm afraid it's not unintentionally spread, but intentionally spread. We can't rule out the possibility that the members of the Myriad Clan cult are causing trouble." Everything is the Myriad Clan cult. The Qi Pavilion elder said furiously, "I don't believe that we can't find out. Get the guards and the inspectorate out. Investigate them one by one. I want to find out where the source is. Myriad Sage, don't try to mediate. I've found out the source. If it's really spread by old Zhou's people, I won't spare them." The other pavilion elders echoed, "The real can't be fake, and the fake can't be true. Investigate them one by one and trace the source. As a civilized master, if you don't even have this bit of ability, then you've lived in vain for so many years. Who spread it? Who started it? Once you find the source, kill them. Use the reputation of the academy to attack your opponent and destroy the reputation of the Great Xia Civilized Academy that has existed for hundreds of years. If you don't kill such a person, then what's the point of keeping him alive?" Many pavilion elders flew into a rage. They wanted to investigate everything thoroughly. Whether it was only spread by people from the Divine Literature Department or not, as long as they investigated to the end, there was nothing that couldn't be found. If it was not, then forget it. If it was, these people would not be fooled so easily. The 10,000 heavenly saints closed his eyes and pondered for a moment. He said, "Since you want to investigate, then let's investigate." The reputation of the Great Xia Institute of Civilization did not allow a few bugs to ruin the matter. He had the inspectors and the guards move out together to trace the source and find the source. Once we've found the source, we'll hold a meeting to decide how to deal with it. Humph. The elders were furious. They even held a meeting to deal with it. What was there to hold a meeting for? Elder Qi said coldly, not only do we have to find out who spread the news, we also have to find out who ordered it. Slander the entire academy's researchers and genius students. Old Wan, if we don't get involved in this matter, don't blame the teachers and students for losing their respect for the academy. It's not your job to blindly reconcile with the mud. Wan Tiansheng was speechless. Am I making peace? Didn't I say that I was going to investigate? I just feel that the single divine prose faction isn't stupid to such an extent. To slander Qin Yong and the others, and even drag the entire academy and even the entire Great Xia Manor into this, isn't that courting death? These few old fellows are in a hurry and won't give me a chance to speak. He's not trying to defend the single divine prose faction either. The key is that it's better to investigate clearly than to be muddle-headed. What a headache. He had nothing to say to these few old fellows. Wan Tiansheng waved his hand and said, "Go investigate. Elder Qi, the few of you will lead the investigation. Once we have found out, we will talk about it." The few elders did not waste any more words. This matter could not be tolerated. Very quickly, the entire Great Xia Institute of Civilization was in chaos. In the main courtyard of the Inspector General's office, Elder Huang had no choice but to take up his post early and lead this matter. One by one, the students were escorted in by the guards. A few cabinet elders personally supervised the implementation of the Inspector General's office and the guards. In a huge interrogation hall, many cabinet elders gathered. One by one, the students were brought in. Cabinet Elder Qi shouted, "When did the rumors reach your ears? Who spread it, and how did they say it? Explain it to me bit by bit. You all know the means of a civilized master. Anyone who lies or deceives will be expelled from the academy, and those who are more serious will be punished as a member of the 10,000 races." The students were terrified. They didn't expect that they would be captured by the guards and the inspector's office. Not only that, but the academy elder was interrogating them personally. Now, no one dared to hide anything. One by one, their names were revealed. Soon, students were escorted over. Layer by layer, they were stripped of their secrets. Soon, a few students from the Shan Shenwen department were captured. The Shan Shenwen department's Teaching and Research Institute. In the huge office, Zhou Mingren was silent. The elders' faces were ashen. Just a moment ago, the guards and the inspectors had taken a few students away in front of them. They directly barged in, interrupted their meeting, and took away a few genius students. In the crowd, Zhou Pingsheng's face was slightly pale, and he did not dare to make a sound. At this moment, they had only taken away a few students who were not ranked in the top 100. However, the situation was getting more and more serious. Zhou Mingren looked at the crowd below. After a long while, he calmly said, "The teachers and students of the Single Divine Language Department have all been called over. Let me see who else is going to be taken away." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 775. Chapter 775, Chapter 195, Uncle Master Chiu subscribe, 3. Old Zhou. Yu Hong said angrily, "Are the inspectors and the guards crazy? We are here, and they dare to take people away." Zhou Mingren looked at her indifferently. He said calmly, "I roughly know what it is. I originally thought that although the Divine Literature Department was a mixed bag, they still had some brains. But now, it seems that they really might not. Yu Hong, don't you know what happened? There are many ways to deal with the multiple Divine Literature Department. But now, it has implicated the entire civilized academy and even spread throughout the entire Great Xia Manor. We have become the biggest joke." As Zhou Mingren said, he sighed, "I think that our people's brains are not stupid to this extent, but I'm not sure if someone is really hopeless." He glanced at his student from the corner of his eye, Zhou Pingsheng. "Are you already stupid to this extent? But no matter how stupid you are, you can't be stupid enough to involve one Tianxing, Ji Hong, and the others, right? Do you really think that the single divine text department is invincible? Zhou Mingren's heart was tired. His student, Zheng Yuming, had brains and shrewdness. Therefore, in the past few decades, the single divine text department had been relatively smooth. The more people there were, the stronger they became, and they were able to completely suppress the multi-divine text department. However, ever since Zheng Yuming had been plotted against. Yes, plotted against. Zheng Yuming had woken up, and Zhou Mingren had asked about the situation clearly. He had not been prepared to make a move that day. Clearly, either Chen Yong had plotted against him, or Myriad Heaven Saint had done it on purpose. Ever since Zheng Yuming had been crippled, the entire single divine prose faction had fallen into complete chaos. First, 100,000 merit points had bought a ridiculous amount of blood essence information. Then, due to a moment of carelessness, he had no choice but to compensate nearly 100,000 merit points to settle the previous document of will incident. One wave had yet to be settled, and another wave had risen. The previous incident had just ended, and now it was happening again. Could he still enter closed-door cultivation to break through the sun and moon? He simply could not enter closed-door cultivation. After a few times, he had lost a mountain and sea, crippled a genius, and his collaborator, Xia Yuan, was also half dead. He had lost nearly 200,000 merit points, and now, was something going to happen again? Zhou Mingren gave the order, and no one dared to say anything else. One by one, the teachers and students of the Divine Literature Department entered. Soon, there was no room for them to stand inside, and the outside began to fill up with people. Lu Hong was still in the air, but he was still fine. He found a spot in the corner and stood there, watching silently. He had declined. After a few times of trouble, he had declined just like that. He could see that the Divine Literature Department was strong on the outside, but weak on the inside. There was no need for the Divine Literature Department to make a move, and they were going to decline inexplicably. Rumors? Lu Hong took a glance at Zhou Pingsheng, whose face was pale. He wanted to curse in his heart. Could it really be this idiot? It was not a big deal. How could you make it look like this? I have to hand it to you. No one from the Divine Literature Department stood up. In the end, they were inexplicably unlucky. While he was thinking, someone shouted outside the building, Huang Qifeng, Zhai Feng, Zhu Hong, Qiu Yun, come out and follow us. In the office, Zhai Feng's expression changed. He said hurriedly, Grandmaster, we didn't spread those rumors. It's true. We didn't do it. Grandmaster. Zhou Mingren said plainly, go and follow them. We will naturally find out who did it. Old Qi and the rest will investigate. Those who slandered me are deliberately finding trouble. Grandmaster. The few of them were anxious. Get out. As Zhou Mingren said this, he suddenly stood up and said, I will go with you. I also want to hear who spread the news and who is being stupid. He was also angry. If it was really the people from the single divine language faction who did it, he could only say that it was time to clean it up. There were too many idiots, and it was easy to implicate the entire faction. Originally, Zheng Yuming had done very well. There was only one enemy, and that was the multi-divine language faction. As for the others, even if it was Wu Yuehua and the others, Zheng Yuming could still greet them with a smile. He did not offend them, but he also did not get close to them. He would be a little more tolerant towards them, but when it came to the multiple divine languages, he wouldn't budge an inch. Thus, the Academy's pavilion elders all understood this principle. It was fine as long as they didn't care, so as not to cause trouble for themselves. The foundation that they had painstakingly laid down today, was completely destroyed. Within a short period of time, they had offended one pavilion elder after another. The Inspector General's office. Zhou Mingren had arrived. Yu Hong and the others had also arrived with him. Cabinet Elder Qi completely ignored them, while old Huang looked indifferent. He said casually, "Since the few of you are here, you can listen in. Mayor Zhou, I hope that you won't interfere with the investigation of the inspector's office and the guards. This matter doesn't seem to be a big deal, but if we let it go, the reputation of the Great Xia Institute of Civilization for more than 300 years will be ruined. To put it more seriously, the Great Xia Institute of Civilization will lose its legacy from now on. Perhaps the root of the disaster will be today." At this moment, Zhai Feng and the others had also arrived. Elder Qi could not be bothered with the others and shouted, "Zhai Feng, Huang Qifeng, someone pointed out that you guys are the ones who spread the rumors about the relationship between teachers and students. Is it true or false?" "It's false." "Nonsense." Elder Qi slammed the table and shouted, "How dare you lie? Do you really think that you can hide it from us? Do you think that the mountains and seas are all trash?" Elder Qi looked around and finally looked at Zhou Mingren and the others. He said coldly, "You can tell if you're lying or not, right? Old Zhou, don't you see that you're half a step away from the sun and moon? If that's the case, you can stop being a vice principal. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 776. Chapter 776, Chapter 195. Uncle Master Chiu subscribe, 4. Zhou Mingren did not say a word. Naturally, he could tell that they were lying. In the field of civilized masters, lying. Zhai Feng and the others really thought that Shan Hai was an idiot. Yu Hong, elder son, and the others also had ugly expressions. Zhai Feng hurriedly said, "It's true, we are not lying." "How dare you!" Boom! Zhai Feng fell to the ground and vomited blood when Elder Qi struck him. His face was pale. Elder Qi said coldly, "You have already been captured, yet you still dare to deny it. Tell me, who ordered you to do this? How dare you? You are merely nurturing your character, spreading rumors about the mountains and seas, and even implicating those in the sun-moon tier. Do you think that you can do nothing to you just because you have someone backing you? Old Qi, don't insinuate." Zhou Mingren said calmly, "I wouldn't order them to do such stupid things. If that's the case, I won't be able to cultivate half a step into the sun and moon realm." The Qi Pavilion elder snorted coldly and was too lazy to say anything else. He turned to look at Huang Qifeng and shouted, "Huang Qifeng, tell me. Who ordered you to do this?" "No." Huang Qifeng's expression changed. He hurriedly said, "I. We didn't spread rumors about the mountains and seas and the sun and moon realm. Qi Pavilion elder, I admit that because I hated Wuxia, I said a few words to provoke her in front of her. I wanted her to fight with me on the arena, but I really didn't spread rumors about other people." At this moment, Huang Qifeng's mind was spinning rapidly. He hurriedly said, I admit that I had some thoughts of slandering Director Chen Yong. However, I didn't mention my name at that time. According to the Academy's rules, I disrespected my teacher and should be punished. I'm willing to bear the consequences. Please forgive me, Elder Qi." Humph. Elder Qi snorted coldly and looked at the other people. He said coldly, "Huang Qifeng confessed. What about you? And, is it only Chen Yong?" As he said that, he shouted, "Bring him up." Very soon, a student was brought up. His face was pale. As soon as he entered the door, he immediately knelt on the ground. He trembled and said, "Pavilion Master, it's not me. I just heard about it. It's Zhai Feng and the others who asked me to spread the news. Give me 5 merit points. If you don't believe me, you can check my merit card. It's really them. They transferred 5 merit points to me. I thought it was so easy to earn money. I lost my soul and actually agreed to it. Pavilion Master, I confess. Upon seeing this person, Zhai Feng's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly said, "Pavilion Elder, I just asked him to spread a few rumors about Wuxia. I didn't say anything else." "Huang Hao, tell me yourself. Is that true?" The student who was called Huang Hao's expression changed. "You're spouting nonsense. You clearly said that it's best to involve everyone. When the time comes, the other pavilion elders will definitely not get involved in this matter in order to prove their innocence. It's just that the matter has gone out of control and actually spread outside the residence." Zhai Feng and the others' expressions changed one after another. Xiao Yun said furiously, "Huang Hao, how dare you slander us? Yesterday, we only asked you to spread the news about Wuxia. No one asked you to spread the news about the other pavilion elders. Your slander. Bastard, you're trying to get us killed." Huang Hao was also anxious. "Nonsense, you clearly didn't say that. Pavilion Elder Qi, I'm not lying. I have no enmity with Wu Jia and the others. I just want to earn some money. I don't have to frame anyone. I'm just doing my job with money." They clearly said that. Huang Hao was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. "I guarantee that it's what they said. At first, it was Wu Jia who spread the rumors. Later, Wu Jia stopped coming out. Thinking of their previous warnings, I spread the rest of the rumors again. Otherwise, I would go crazy and implicate the pavilion master all of a sudden. I thought that 5 merit points was not a small amount. It was not a crime to spread rumors, and no one would investigate it. Who knew that it would turn out like this? You're spouting nonsense." Even though Zhai Feng was injured, he was still furious at this moment. He stood up and was about to attack him. Boom! Zhai Feng was directly hit by a palm strike in the air and slammed into the wall. The pavilion master looked at him coldly and then at Zhou Mingren. "How dare you students from your department? You even dare to attack a witness in the interrogation room." Zhou Mingren simply closed his eyes and sighed in his heart. How stupid. He could vaguely see that Zhai Feng and the others might have only spread the rumors about Wu Jia, but Zhai Feng, this idiot, actually wanted to attack Huang Hao in front of them. He was courting death. Even though Elder Qi and the others had doubts, they were furious at this moment. After a long while, Zhou Mingren said, "Check Huang Hao's memory and see if anyone tampered with it." Zhai Feng was stupid, but it was useless when it involved other people. Huang Hao did not seem to be lying. "Old Qi, go ahead and check. It's our fault. Admit it." "No, we were framed. We can't admit it." The Qi pavilion elder frowned. He thought for a while and called another pavilion elder. "Let's check together. Old Huang, you come too. Let's see if Huang Hao's memory has been tampered with." Huang Hao's words did not match Zhai Feng and the others. However, the facts proved that the rumors were spread by Huang Hao first, and the instigators were Zhai Feng and the others. 2 Mountain and Sea Realm cultivators and 1 9th level Ling Yun Realm cultivator came forward to check. They could not directly check the memories. However, whether the memories had been tampered with or not, one could tell by looking at the Sea of Will. If an expert tampered with the memories, there would definitely be a problem with the Sea of Will. It was impossible that there would not be a problem at all. The few of them took a look. After a long while, Elder Huang shook his head. "I'm weak, so I don't see anything abnormal." Elder Qi and the other elder also looked at each other and shook their heads. Elder Qi looked at Zhou Mingren. "If you don't believe me, come and see for yourself. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 777. Chapter 777, Chapter 195. Zhou Mingren stood up and did not say anything. He placed his big hand on Huang Hao's head and carefully examined it for a while. His heart was slightly shaken and he quickly examined it. There were no clues. Suddenly, his gaze changed slightly. He looked at a wound on Huang Hao's hand and said coldly, "What's wrong with this wound?" Huang Hao said in fear, "I fell. I fell last night." Fell? Zhou Mingren said indifferently, "You're a person of character. You actually know how to fall." At this moment, there was a small wound on Huang Hao's hand. Huang Hao said hurriedly, "I really fell. Yesterday, I was busy spreading rumors, so I didn't pay attention for a moment and fell." Zhou Mingren didn't say anything. He bent down and picked up Huang Hao's hand to look at it. After looking at it for a while, he said softly, "I fell." Then he sighed and said, "I suspect that someone tampered with his memory. It was not through his sea of will, but by extracting his blood essence and tampering with his memory imprint." Then, he released his blood essence back, causing his memory to be in a mess. He looked at Huang Hao and said, "Let me ask you, when you woke up this morning, were you dizzy and weak?" Huang Hao muttered, "A little." On the side, Elder Qi berated, "Enough. Zhou Mingren, let me ask you, can you do it? Can the sun and moon do it? Could it be that Invincible tampered with his memory? There's no need to be invincible, someone can do it." Zhou Mingren's eyes were cold and stern. He turned his head to look out of the window. Hong Tan, Chen Yong, Bai Feng. It's possible for people from the Divine Literature Department to do it. Qi Pavilion Master was furious. Elder Huang also frowned and asked, "Where's the evidence?" Mansion Master Zhou, at this point, you weren't the one who tampered with Huang Hao's memories just because you said so. Where's the evidence? Words have no basis. Should we arrest people from the Multiple Divine Languages Department, torture them, and force them to ask if they tampered with Huang Hao's memories? Qi Pavilion Master completely ignored him. He directly grabbed the half-dead Zhai Feng in the air and said coldly, "Tell me, who ordered you to do it?" Zhou Mingren frowned slightly and sighed in his heart. What a vicious thought. This was not Hong Tan's style. Bai Feng was seriously injured and could not do this at this moment. Could it be, that fellow? Was he the one who extracted the blood essence and modified the memory imprint? Could he have done this? Or did he misunderstand? Zhou Mingren lowered his head and returned to his seat silently. He had failed this time. Unless he could find evidence to prove that someone had really altered Huang Hao's memory, Zhai Feng and the rest would not be able to clear their names no matter what they said. In the library, Wuxia still had a displeased look on his face. Chen Yong looked as if nothing had happened. He smiled and said, "Are you still angry? It's not like you were the only one who was exposed. Now, the entire academy and the entire Great Xia Mansion are in chaos. These people like to talk nonsense. Look, aren't they going to be unlucky? Master, are these people sick? They're going to be unlucky this time. They deserve it." Chen Yong smiled and said, "That's because they're too stupid. If they talk nonsense, they'll still have to pay the price. Don't be angry. Master will teach you new knowledge today. How to allow yourself to explode with greater strength." Explode? A self-harming martial technique, exploding essence blood and self-harming. Chen Yong sighed and said, "You're constantly being beaten half to death by others." Sigh. I shouldn't have taught you, but you're a one-track-minded girl. If you don't know how to compromise, something will happen sooner or later. Master will teach you how to save your life today. Chen Yong nagged, "Humans are the same as the 10,000 races. They all have blood essence. You all know about the blood essence of the 10,000 races that your martial uncle and the others have researched. Blood essence can be extracted from dead things and from living things. Of course, extracting blood essence will definitely hurt your vitality greatly." Chen Yong said softly, "Humans can extract blood essence in different amounts according to their strength. At the recuperation stage, they can extract about 10 drops of blood essence. If 1 or 2 drops explode, they won't die, but they will be severely injured and weak. Wuxia asked curiously, Master, will the increase in strength be great? Of course. Chen Yong smiled and said, your recuperation is of great importance. If 1 drop of blood essence is exploded, you will be able to increase your strength by more than 10%. Of course, you have to rest well afterwards, or there will be consequences. Blood essence is very important and magical. It even contains some human instincts and memories. The demon blood essence that your martial uncle extracted can be used as an innate skill, which is a kind of innate mark. And among them, some memory fragments can be extracted. This is also one of the main directions your martial uncle has been studying all these years. Chen Yong spoke word by word. On the 10th floor, outside the window, a figure suddenly appeared. Wuxia could not see it, nor did she notice it. Chen Yong looked in that direction. Wan Tianxing looked at him with a gloomy gaze. His lips opened and closed. Chen Yong, using the people of the Wan clan to do experiments is enough. If you dare to lay your hands on the students in the academy again, I will personally kill you. Chen Yong nodded slightly and didn't reply. He continued to teach Wuxia. Wan Tianxing looked at him with a gloomy expression for a long time. The more divine texts, the more evildoers there were. Many evildoers. But, if they really became evildoers, then they should be killed. Until Wan Tianxing was about to leave, Chen Yong's faint voice traveled over. Principal, people respect me afoot, but I respect them afoot. Jia Jia's parents were ambushed and killed by the Myriad clan in the suburbs for me. I saw it with my own eyes. They spoke nonsense and deserved to be killed. I'm already very restrained. Wan Tianxing frowned. This is the first time. I don't want there to be a second time. There won't be a second time. I didn't say anything when Jia Jia was seriously injured last time. She asked for it. I, Chen Yong, am reasonable. This time. They want to kill her. Next time, I will kill all of them before you kill me. Wan Tianxing frowned and turned to look at him. He was still teaching Wuxia how to kill her enemies at the critical moment. Chen Yong, if you advance to the mountain and sea realm as soon as possible, they will naturally stop targeting Wuxia. Whether you advance or not is my business. It has nothing to do with Jia Jia. Prefect, I have a good temper, but, an honest man losing his temper is also very scary. Chen Yong smiled and turned to look at him. I want Zhou Pingxing's life. If he doesn't die, I won't let this matter rest. Wan Tianxing glanced at him coldly and didn't say anything else. He disappeared from where he stood in an instant. Meanwhile, Chen Yong continued his lesson gently with a smile on his face. Jia, remember this. You don't have to kill your enemy head-on. There are many tricks up your sleeve. Learn more from your junior brother. He is a shrewd man. One is invincible, and the other is invincible. If you kill him head-on, you might die. However, there are some tricks up his sleeve. He might be able to kill a few invincible. Tricks. Wuxia said with a headache, Master, I don't like to use tricks. You. Sigh. Chen Yong said with a headache, this is called, forget it, you should continue being reckless. We have more divine literature, and we don't expect you to carry it forward. As for you, cultivate well. As for me, I will think of a way to connect you and your junior brother. Your junior brother is smart, and he can protect you. Teacher. Wuxia was displeased and said angrily, I don't have the mood. Why are you spouting nonsense? Chen Yong couldn't help but laugh. He nodded and said, all right, all right, all right. Teacher, stop spouting nonsense. It depends on your fate. He sighed softly in his heart. Teacher will grow old one day and die one day. How much longer can he take care of you? Su Yu. There is hope for the sun and the moon. As for me, do I still have hope for the sun and the moon? I chuckled and stopped thinking about it. It's still too early for me to worry about it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 778. Chapter 778, Chapter 196, Be Ruthless One. The Inspector General's Office. Huang Hao had pointed out that it was Zhai Feng and the others who had asked him to spread the rumors. Zhai Feng and Huang Qifeng had also admitted it, but they firmly refused to admit that they had slandered others. They only did it to target Qin Yong and Wuxia. These two were different. Slandering Qin Yong and Wuxia was a personal grudge. It was a personal grudge. Spreading rumors and disrespecting teachers did not deserve death. However, the matter had become so big that it even involved the entire Great Xia mansion. Once the charges were confirmed, they could really die. In the interrogation room, Huang Qifeng's face was pale as he said loudly, "Elders, we really do not have the intention to slander the other elders and the school. Huang Hao is lying. He is lying. We did not." Qiu Yun's face was pale as she looked at Zhou Mingren hurriedly. "Grandmaster, we really don't. We are not crazy. We will do it to Wu Jia and the others. But the other elders, we have no reason to anger them." The elders ignored them. Pavilion Master Qi looked at the elders who came with him to inspect and then looked at Elder Huang. He said in a deep voice, "Huang Hao didn't lie. These people didn't lie either. Yes, they weren't stupid and could tell that something was wrong. Then, something had indeed gone wrong. But no matter what, these people had indeed created a rumor to slander Qin Yong. No matter what, Qin Yong was still a 9th-level Ling Yun master and the curator of the library pavilion. Even if they had only slandered Qin Yong, now that the evidence was conclusive, they would still have to bear the punishment. On the other side, Zhou Mingren closed his eyes and didn't speak. Elder Huang said in a deep voice, "These people dare to slander Qin Yong for no reason. There should be someone behind it." Elder Qi glanced at him and did not say anything more. He looked at Zhai Feng and the others and said plainly, "You created a rumor. Who asked you to do it?" "No one. Think carefully before you say anything." Elder Qi said calmly, "A researcher slandering a colleague is not a big deal. A student slandering a high-ranking member of the academy is a big deal." This was the truth. This was an era where strength reigned supreme. The crimes of nurturing and slandering Ling Yun were different from those of slandering Ling Yun. At this moment, Zhou Mingren suddenly opened his eyes and said calmly, "It was my order. I only asked them to think of a way to deal with Wu Jia and take down Director Qin Yong's position. As for the rumors, I didn't think too much about it." Elder Qi, Elder Huang, and the others instantly looked at him. Elder Huang said coldly, "Principal Zhou, you have to take responsibility for what you say." In fact, they had vaguely guessed that it wasn't Zhou Mingren who had instigated it. It was that idiot Zhou Pingsheng. Yu Hong, elder son, and the others also looked at him. Zhou Mingren said calmly, "I will naturally take responsibility. This matter was unintentionally caused by me. I will assume this responsibility. I will resign from the position of vice principal of the academy. Are you satisfied with this punishment?" He wanted to resign from his position as the deputy prefect. The pavilion elders frowned. What was the difference between a deputy prefect and a pavilion elder? The biggest difference was that once the 10,000 heavenly saints fell or was no longer the prefect, these deputy prefects had the qualifications to lead the entire Great Xia Civilization Academy. Another point was that the deputy prefects had the qualifications to interfere in the affairs of other academies. For example, the divine pills and divine talismans. The deputy prefects also had the qualifications to participate in them. Now that Zhou Mingren had resigned, it meant that he would only be in charge of the Divine Arts Academy in the future. He would no longer interfere in the other affairs of the academy, and the losses would still be huge. Elder Huang's gaze was cold as he glanced at Zhou Mingren. Prefect Zhou, you have to take responsibility for your words. It's not a good choice to replace someone. You are the deputy prefect, and if you really say that you did it, then we won't be able to continue investigating. Zhou Mingren had already admitted to it. How could they continue investigating? Even if they managed to find Zhou Pingsheng, the other party said that Zhou Mingren's words weren't as simple as dealing with a recuperative character. They could tell that the recuperative character wasn't lying. By the time they were in the air, even the sun and moon wouldn't be able to tell. Once the willpower in the air appeared, its strength would increase greatly. By then, it wouldn't be so simple anymore. Zhou Mingren was as calm as water. Like I said, I was the one who gave the orders. How should I punish and how should I punish? What else do you all want to know? Elder Qi frowned. He looked at Zhou Mingren, he frowned and said, Old Zhou, there are some things that you and I know very well. We are all people from the mountains and seas who want to enter the sun and the moon. There are some small tricks that are really boring. When Zheng Yiming was around, whatever he did, at least everything was in accordance with the rules. You all are a group of people who are messy but not messy. At least there are rules, now, hee hee. Zhou Mingren felt pain in his heart. Don't I know? I know. But, don't you know who crippled Yiming? Elder Huang glanced at Zhou Mingren and regained his calm. Since Mansion Master Zhou has admitted that he was the mastermind, Mansion Master Zhou will leave it to Mansion Master Wan to hold a cabinet elder meeting to decide. As for Zhai Feng and the others, Zhou Mingren was willing to take the blame. Moreover, he was not sure whether they had passed the blame to Chen Yong alone or to everyone. Elder Huang pondered for a moment and said, Huang Hao and the other executors have tarnished the reputation of the academy and slandered the teachers. From today onwards, they will deprive the academy of all benefits and access to the mystic realm. The library will be banned, they will also be fined 30 points, 100 merit points will be forfeited, and the records will be more severe than the punishment. The few of them did not say anything. Elder Huang continued, Zhai Feng, Huang Qifeng, Qiu Yun, and the others, as the rumor makers, will be fined 100 points. They will be fined 1,000 merit points. They will be deprived of all access to the academy. The moment these words were said, Zhou Mingren sighed. I was the one who instigated it. They are just enforcers. They can be punished with a penalty or a demerit, but they will be stripped of all authority. They are all top 100 students. I hope the Inspector General will spare them. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 779. Chapter 779, Chapter 196, Be Ruthless Too. If they were deprived of their authority, it meant that they wouldn't be able to participate in the next trip to the Sea of Consciousness Arcane Realm. The punishment was much more painful than they had imagined. Demerits would be a big problem in the future. Losing 1,000 merit points was also a large sum of money. However, all of this wasn't as tragic as losing all of their authority. This meant that they would lose many opportunities in the academy. Why did they come to the academy to study, just to obtain these rights? Once they were deprived, it was equivalent to being expelled from the academy in disguise. These people were all elites of the single divine language faculty. If they were all destroyed in one go, the losses would be too great. Elder Huang said calmly, they brought this upon themselves. At the very least, I still reserve the right to stay in the academy for them. If they have a great merit in the future, they can offset the punishment this time. Great merit? Zhou Mingren was silent for a moment before he said, is the extermination of the strongholds of the myriad clans a great merit? Yes. Elder Huang's eyes flickered. Head Zhou, you have to think carefully. The merit cannot be privately transferred. If you risk your merit, you will have to be killed. I know. Zhou Mingren looked at Zhai Feng and the others and said softly, there is still a chance. The Great Xia Mansion is highly meritorious. The few of you cannot fly far. As long as you exterminate a few strongholds of the myriad clans, your merits and faults will be offset. There is still a chance to offset everything today. He sighed in his heart. He had suffered heavy losses. A bunch of idiots. As for himself, he had lost his position as deputy head of the mansion. If he lost it, so be it. At this time, it was time to shrink the tentacles of the single divine script department. Previously, when he was strong and prosperous, he could still interfere in the affairs of other academies. Now, he was powerless. Elder Huang did not care about him and continued, in addition. Zhou Pingsheng, Yang Chao, Min He. They have no followers. They are suspended for 1 year of meritorious service. Within 3 years, they are not allowed to apply for the promotion assessment of their professional titles. Huang Chen. Zhou Mingren suddenly looked at Elder Huang. His gaze changed as he said, they know nothing about this. They can be fined for 1 year, but they are not allowed to apply for the promotion assessment for 3 years. Isn't that too much? Not being able to apply for promotion for 3 years meant that even if Zhou Ping became a curator and a branch master, he would not be able to become a pavilion elder. This was because the lowest requirement for a pavilion elder was to be a senior researcher. And Zhou Pingsheng didn't have this opportunity. Elder Huang glanced at him and said indifferently, if Principal Zhou is dissatisfied, you can complain. Now, the Overwatch Council has already given Principal Zhou face and given him a lighter punishment. Zhou Mingren frowned and didn't speak anymore. Within 3 years, many researchers couldn't apply for promotion. Zhou Pingsheng was not the only one. Some of the other researchers were also in the advancement stage. As a result, the authority of the Divine Literature Department would be further reduced. He glanced at Huang Chen, and his expression did not look too good. The previous inspector's office was not like this. Elder Huang ignored him, he continued, in addition, students have bad temperaments. As teachers, they have a lot of responsibility. The inspector's office will investigate the school's inspector at the end of this year. The inspector's office also wants to see what the thoughts of the academy's researchers are. The moment these words were said, Yu Hong and the others' expressions changed. Yu Hong shouted, Huang Chen, what do you mean? What do you mean? Elder Huang looked at her, he said calmly, an inspection. Don't you understand? The duties of the inspectors. Elder Yu Hong wants to interfere with the work of the inspectors. Those who are clear will be clear, and those who are muddled will be muddled. I hope that when everyone goes back, you will urge the others to do a good job. This year's inspection will be thoroughly investigated. This includes the treasury, accounts, hours, research projects, and financial accounts, all of them will be thoroughly investigated. Old Huang said coldly, I'd like to see why the academy still has such a lack of funds despite having so much income every year, and why it's so difficult for students to earn a single cent. I feel that the Great Xia Civilization Academy isn't lacking in money. This includes the text of will. Even if the students can't observe it every day, they can still observe it once or twice a week. Now, many students, for half a year or even a year, are showing signs of not being able to earn a single cent. Including the divine pill, divine talisman, weapon forging, beast taming. It's best to go back and check on yourself. Don't wait until the end of the year to thoroughly investigate and get caught by me. Elder Huang looked at everyone and said coldly, I hope that by the end of the year, I can still see the figures of all the pavilion elders. Don't be directly punished to go to the vanguard camp at that time and be stripped of the title of pavilion elder. That would be embarrassing. The moment these words were said, the expressions of the pavilion elders changed. Even the faces of the pavilion elders who were supervising the investigation changed. This Huang Chen fellow wasn't like this in the past. Elder Huang's face was calm. Everyone, remember this lesson. In addition, the pavilion elders meeting will come up with a plan as soon as possible. I will inform all parties to punish the students and publicly punish them. I will let the outside world see that the Great Xia Institute of Civilization still has rules. We can fight, but don't cross the line. Once we cross this line, we will be severely punished. Everyone fell silent. Public punishment, public flogging. The year-end inspection will be conducted by the Great Xia Institute of Civilization. Each and every one of these matters will change the power structure of the entire institute. The inspector's office acted very quickly, and the Great Xia Institute of Civilization acted very quickly as well. On the afternoon of the 15th, the punishment plan was released. It was made public to the entire Great Xia Manor. Zhou Mingren, as a half-step Sun Moon expert, was the first to bear the brunt of the punishment. He became the focus of everyone's attention. Zhou Mingren was fined for 3 years and was stripped of his position. Zhou Pingsheng and a few other researchers were fined for 1 year. They were not allowed to be promoted for 3 years. Zhai Feng, Huang Qifeng, and the others were punished with 100 lashes and 1,000 merit points. They were stripped of all the benefits and rights of the institute. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 780. Chapter 780, Chapter 196, Be Ruthless. Subscribe to the monthly 3. Huang Hao and the others were also punished. Including some students who spread rumors, they were also punished with merit points. Some received a few points, while some received 100 points. Some of the students who spread the rumors received demerits, and some were even deprived of the right to enter the mystic realm. When the news came out, it shocked everyone. It was nothing for the students to be punished. The key point was that a half-step Sun Moon realm expert was actually deprived of the position of deputy head. This was no small matter. A half-step Sun Moon realm expert was also a top-tier expert in the Great Xia Mansion. Because of a rumor, it almost destroyed a top-tier expert. The Great Xia Civilization Academy was swift and decisive. In just half a day, they had given the results, and it also made the Great Xia Mansion spectators watch a great show. The most important thing was that it was too embarrassing. Zhou Ming was a half-step Sun Moon realm expert, but he was actually involved in spreading rumors. This was a great blow to his reputation. Punishment of salary, punishment of merit. These losses looked insignificant at this moment. In the afternoon. In the mission area. There was a sea of people. Today, they would be publicly punished with whipping. On the huge square, teachers and students surrounded the entire square. Chen Yong also came. Together with Wu Jia, he looked at the students in the square with an indifferent expression. Not far away, Zhou Pingsheng's face was pale. His students were all present. His teacher was punished, and he himself was punished. His students were also punished for meritorious deeds and publicly whipped. To Zhou Pingsheng, this was simply embarrassing. Not only that, but this time, in the eyes of the elders, he was completely useless. The teacher and the elders naturally knew who was the mastermind. Zhou Pingsheng looked at the students kneeling on the ground. He was terrified, but at the same time, he was incomparably furious. He only asked these bastards to deal with Wu Jia. Why did it spread like this? It drew the attention of the entire academy and even the experts of the Great Xia Mansion. The year-end purge. What did this mean? It meant that they would have to make up for all their losses this year. There were too many of them, and their losses were extremely heavy. This wasn't something that the few thousand merit points that they had forfeited could compare to. Putting everything else aside, just the library pavilion alone would have to fill in at least 30,000 merit points. There were other places. This included the Academy's treasury, the Research Institute, the Mission Office, the Exchange Office. After a simple check today, the entire monotheistic department would need at least 200,000 merit points. And before that, they had already lost hundreds of thousands of merit points. From now on, the monotheistic department really had to tighten their belts. Some research institutes had no choice but to give up. Some projects had to be stopped. And this was a financial loss. Once some things were verified, it was very likely that a portion of the researchers would be punished to go to the vanguard camp. If they were lucky, they could come back alive. If they were unlucky, they could only die in the heavenly battlefield. Now, the researchers from the single divine text department hated him to death. It wasn't just the single divine text department. When the researchers from the other departments of the Academy saw him, they also hated him to death. Because of his actions, many of the researchers were terrified. Terrified. Why? Before today, he was still thinking of becoming a branch master, a curator, and a pavilion elder this year. But now, everything had become a mirage. On the square, Elder Huang, as the director of the Inspector General's office, made his first appearance in front of everyone. A cold shout sounded, "Execute!" Pa! A few guards gathered their strength and lashed out. Ah! Screams continued to ring out. On the backs of the students, bloody marks appeared one after another, and their skin split open. Old Huang looked around and said coldly, "There are still rules in the academy. There are rules in the army, rules in the Great Xia Mansion, and rules in the Great Xia Civilization Academy. Whether it's the students or the researchers, they all have to obey the rules. This is the reason why the human race is able to stand among the top 10 races. Without rules, if they mess around on the battlefield, will they still have the peace they have today? If there's merit, there's no reward. If there's no punishment, who will contribute to the human race? Fight!" With a cold shout, those guards exerted even more strength. The inspectors of the inspectorate were supervising them. If they didn't exert strength, they would all be punished. Blood splattered everywhere. Elemental energy and willpower were not allowed to be used to resist. A civilized master's physical body was not too strong to begin with. Huang Qifeng, who had been injured previously, was already unconscious after a few lashes. He was not the only one. Some weaker students, such as Huang Hao, were completely unconscious at this moment. They allowed the lashes to leave bloody marks on their bodies. Outside, Chen Yong watched for a while before glancing at Zhou Pingsheng, who was not far away, before turning around and leaving with Wuxia. Wuxia said softly, "Master, you're not going to watch anymore." "I'm not going to watch anymore. My mouth stinks. I've already been dealt with. I won't dare to do it again next time. It's a pity that some people did not receive the punishment they deserved." Zhou Mingren. Chen Yong glanced at a tall building in the distance. There, a figure stood tall. He smiled. "What a good teacher. For the sake of your student, he even took the blame." On the tall building, Zhou Mingren was also looking at him. His gaze was deep. "Chen Yong had underestimated you. This time, the single divine language faction suffered heavy losses to the extreme. Their reputation had been ruined. Including Zhou Mingren, as a half-step Sun-Moon realm expert, such an expert would rarely be publicly punished in the entire human realm. And he had created a precedent for the Great Xia Manor." Zhou Mingren didn't look at Chen Yong anymore. Instead, he looked at the person sitting on the chair next to him and said softly, "Yuming, do you think that the single divine one faction is crippled? There are so many people, but they can't even defeat a few people." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 781. Chapter 781, Chapter 196. Be ruthless. Subscribe to the monthly 4. The old could not defeat Hong Tan, the next generation could not defeat Qin Yong, the students could not defeat Su Yu. The advantage of numbers. Was it useful? A few people made you go round and round, the mountains and seas were crippled, the principal was stripped, the researchers could not be promoted, and the students were publicly flogged. There was also that huge deficit. Once they made up for this deficit, it would be difficult for them to even open the mystic realm this time. However, if they did not open the mystic realm, they would not be able to explain it. At this moment it was no longer something that they could not do as they wished. The pavilion elders who had obtained the quota would not agree to it. However, once the mystic realm was opened, Zhai Feng and the others would be punished and not allowed to enter. The key was that it would consume a huge amount of their savings. Zheng Yiming sighed softly and said helplessly, "Teacher, we have underestimated those fellows. Now that we have been played around, not only that, but we have also offended many people from other factions, especially this year's year-end purge." Zhou Mingren nodded. Yes, this had affected the interests of everyone. However, others would not resent the Inspector General. They would only think that it was the trouble brought about by their single divine script faction. Otherwise, why would the inspectors go through such a large-scale investigation? Teacher, the merit points are gone, and the resources are gone. These can all be resolved, ask the great Zhou Manor for them. Zheng Yiming gritted his teeth and said, "The great Zhou Manor has to provide these losses to make up for our losses." Zhou Mingren was silent for a moment before nodding slightly. Also, pavilion elders Ma and Fang, call them back. Old Ma has been sent to the Shanghai Vanguard unit. Coincidentally, he can take care of you too. Old Fang, I will think of a way to recall him. Old Ma has been sent to the Vanguard unit. Zheng Yiming did not know about this matter. Zhou Mingren nodded and said, "On the day Hong Tan came out, he was sent there. Coincidentally, I originally wanted them to take care of you alone. There was no reason, and now it's not bad. I'm the one who dragged teacher down." Zheng Yiming sighed. Zhou Mingren said calmly, "Not really. Are you sure that Qin Yong was the one who schemed against you last time? It should be him." Zheng Yiming sighed and said, "I was watching the battle at that time. What I saw was not Qi Feng being injured, but that he was already dead. He was tortured and killed. I was so angry that I was prepared to seek an explanation. In the end, he could interfere with your will." "Yes." Zheng Yiming nodded. "He was the strongest person in the top 100. It was not him who interfered. No one could do it. He must have created an illusion for me. It might not have interfered with me, but the small area in the arena." Zhou Mingren nodded and did not ask any more. There was no evidence for this. Even if Zheng Yiming said it, it would be useless. Just like this time, Huang Hao's memories had definitely been tampered with. However, without any evidence, unless an invincible person came to investigate further, what else could he say? It was impossible for him to attack a 9th-level Ling Yun without any evidence. Moreover, Hong Tan was still in the academy. "Teacher, previously, the multi-divine literature department had been lying low, but from this year onwards, they have repeatedly retaliated. Could it be that the great Zhou Manor can't suppress them anymore?" Zhou Mingren said softly, "It's been 50 years. It's not that they can't suppress them anymore, but that they've suppressed them to their limits. Lu Wenyan and the others have returned one after another. Hong Tan is about to advance, in addition, there's someone behind them who's adding fuel to the fire. That's why the polytheistic faction is constantly retaliating." Then, Zheng Yiming was silent for a moment before he said, "Do we still have to continue?" "Continue." Zhou Mingren said softly, taking the chestnuts out of the fire, "This is our chance. If we don't have the multi-divine script faction, we won't have our current glory. If we can't suppress the multi-divine script faction, then we will lose a lot of things." Zheng Yiming nodded and said, "Then continue to suppress them." At the very least, we can't let the multi-divine script faction be established again. Teacher, we should fight for more things from the Great Zhou Manor. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to continue. You don't need to say that. Zhou Polong will not let this matter rest after Shan Tianhao is killed. The Great Xia Manor is still not his territory. He can only rely on us. As Zhou Mingren spoke, he continued, since you won't let our people use the mystic realm, then lend it to us. Ask the Great Zhou Manor to send a few eternal divine prose over. Jing Yuming's eyes flickered. Teacher, had a big appetite. We want all of the literature, weapons, pills, cultivation techniques, and will texts. Zhou Mingren said indifferently, our losses this time are too great. We can only let them contribute. Jing Yuming nodded and didn't say anything else. Zhou Mingren suddenly said, who do you think is more suitable to have a branch master? Jing Yuming glanced at the distant Zhou Pingsheng and sighed. This junior brother of his couldn't bear such a big responsibility. Obviously, he couldn't. Let's not set up a branch master for now, but we can find a few people to take charge. How about Lu Hong? Zhou Mingren suddenly asked. Jing Yuming frowned and said, Teacher, he just ascended, and this person is crafty. What we want is crafty. Zhou Mingren said calmly, the others represent the interests of the other elders. Old Zhao is in closed-door cultivation, and Lu Hong has no one to rely on. The Lingyun realm can be managed by the other elders, and Lu Hong is in charge of ascending and descending. How about that? Jing Yuming said in a deep voice, he can. The key is that I think his mind is not on suppressing anyone, but on improving himself. Lu Hong is a typical egoist. He only cares about things that are beneficial to him. Then tie him up. If it's beneficial to the single Divine One faction, then it's beneficial to him. If it's not beneficial to the single Divine One faction, then it's not beneficial to him. Zhou Mingren didn't care about this and casually said, everything depends on strength and research results. Without strength, everything is empty. Jing Yuming nodded. He thought for a moment and said, Teacher, do you still want the position of the head of the library pavilion? Chen Yong. Once again, he turned his gaze to Chen Yong, who was about to disappear. Our people, don't make a move anymore. Or if it's within the rules, don't let others find any evidence against you. I'll go back and look for Xia Yuan. If he doesn't fight for the position, then he won't fight for it anymore. Xia Yuan's injuries were almost healed. What was hurting him now was not his physical injuries, but his spiritual injuries. Bai Feng's sword had destroyed his faith. That was the scariest thing. Bai Feng, who was at the 8th level of the Soaring Cloud Realm, had defeated him. This was the biggest blow to Xia Yuan. If Bai Feng was at the 3rd level of the Soaring Cloud Realm, then Xia Yuan's heart would not be as dead as ashes. Jing Yuming nodded and did not say anything else. He would have to leave the academy next month. His injuries had yet to recover and his main divine text had been shattered. He did not know if he would have the chance to walk out of the celestial battlefield alive. The two of them spoke a few more sentences before finally. Zhou Mingren suddenly said, the news has spread throughout the Great Xia Mansion overnight. How many people are there in the multi-divine text department? Even if they tampered with Huang Hao's memories, it would still be fine in the academy. There are still people outside the academy supporting Chen Yong. Jing Yuming moved slightly and nodded. Definitely. 100-foot worm will not freeze even after it dies. It seems that there are still some people outside the multi-god literature department. This time, Chen Yong has also been exposed. Follow this line and investigate. I also want to see how many people are still lying low. As he said that, Zheng Yuming suddenly said, Teacher, keep an eye on junior brother Zhou. Oh. That Wu Jia was taken in as a disciple back then. You know the reason as well. Before she entered the academy, Chen Yong was the one who had been sponsoring her studies. Chen Yong was the one who raised her as his daughter. This time, junior brother has violated his taboo. I'm worried that something might happen to junior brother. Zhou Mingren frowned and looked at Chen Yong without making a sound. After a long while, he suddenly said faintly, Pingsheng is dead. How can Manor Head One not take it seriously? Zheng Yiming's heart trembled. But he didn't dare to make a sound. These words had too many meanings. Teacher, could it be that? Zhou Mingren had already turned around and left. His voice said faintly, if you can't accomplish anything, you'll be able to ruin everything. Of course, your teacher isn't that ruthless, but I'll be going into seclusion next. Let's forget about Pingsheng being fine. If he continues to be stupid, I won't be able to save him either. Using Zhou Pingsheng to exchange for Chen Yong. Zheng Yiming's expression was a little strange. He remained silent. Was it worth it? It was probably worth it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 782. Chapter 782, Chapter 197, Exit from Seclusion, Chance Encounter, Mutual Disgust 1. At this moment, Suyu did not know about the changes in the academy. No one sent him any more messages, and he did not do anything. He only asked Xia Huyo to help take care of his senior sister so that she would not be cheated. One by one, the apertures were opened. It had lasted for several days. The successful cultivation of the body-strengthening technique had greatly increased the speed of Suyu's awakening. It had to be said that the cultivation technique of the mountain-shattering bull clan was too suitable for enlightenment. As for the mountain-shattering bull clan, they were only barely able to enter the top 100 of their race. It was truly a waste of their cultivation technique. Of course, it was possible that the race was different. It was useless for the mountain-shattering bull clan to gain enlightenment quickly, as there were not enough top-notch experts. This was normal. With enlightenment, Mountain C could still hold an advantage in the past, but after reaching Mountain C, it was no longer a matter of how much enlightenment they had. 260 openings. This was the number of openings Suyu had opened. He had long used up all his blood essence. At this moment, he was forcefully relying on the Yuan Qi to open his openings. Dozens of drops of 5 elemental race blood essence allowed him to open another 4 god openings. The number of god openings had reached 44. As for the heaven-cleaving blade openings, they had yet to be fully opened. Suyu calmed his mind and studied the article of the heaven-cleaving blades will time and time again. He had been reading this text of the will for several days. Gradually, a divine text appeared in Suyu's Sea of Will. Break. After blood, thunder, battle, kill, blade, Suyu sketched another divine text, the break divine text. Because it was written by Xia Longwu, the break character was also extremely powerful. Last time, because he had absorbed the divine charm of the eternal divine text, Suyu's 6 divine texts had improved quite a bit. Among them, the blood divine text was even more restrained in its divine light, although it had not reached the stage of advancing to rank 3 divine text, but they were much stronger than before. The thunder divine runes also benefited, directly entering rank 2. The current Suyu had 3 rank 2 divine runes and 4 rank 1 divine runes. Including the broken divine runes that he had just outlined, they were all at the peak of rank 1. Xia Longwu. Suyu let out a breath, somewhat unexpected. Xia Longwu was a civilized master. This was not strange at all. Warriors also cultivated the path of civilization, which was very common. It was possible for him to sketch out peak rank 1 divine runes. Xia Longwu's level of civilized master was at least mountain and sea. A mountain and sea realm civilization master was already very powerful for a dual cultivator. 7 divine runes. Suyu exhaled. During this period of time, he did not have much time to look at the text of will. Even so, he had sketched out a total of 7 divine runes. Moreover, many of them were at Tier 2, the weakest at peak Tier 1. From the level alone, they were already not inferior to some of the soaring civilization masters. At this moment, his full willpower was barely maintained at 80%, but Suyu believed that it was definitely stronger than those guys whose willpower had reached 99%, unless those guys had also tempered their willpower. More than 260 yuan openings, and more than 44 god openings. At this moment, Suyu felt that with his true strength, he definitely had the confidence to enter the top 10 of the top 100. Some of the weaker ones, such as his father, who had advanced to the level of 36 apertures, could at most fuse 4 apertures into one to become 4 stone soaring. Suyu felt that, even if his father had advanced to the level of soaring, he might not necessarily lose. Entering the school, less than 3 months. Suyu was secretly shocked. Of course, it consumed a lot of resources. He knew that this might allow him to have the strength to challenge soaring in the air at this stage, which also made Suyu apprehensive. No wonder it was said that it was not difficult for those geniuses to challenge those who had advanced beyond their level. Strong cultivation techniques, strong martial techniques, strong physical body, strong explosive power. Just this, if he wasn't as strong as those fellows who casually created cultivation techniques to advance, he would be too weak. I'm still lacking 28 apertures. Body strengthening technique also had apertures overlapping, and the degree of overlapping wasn't low. At this moment, after opening another 28 apertures, Suyu would be able to completely cultivate the heaven-cleaving blade. Once he completed the heaven-cleaving blade cultivation, he would be able to open 288 apertures. Suyu even thought that he could open all of the second level of the time aperture in one go, and the number of openings would exceed 300. Today is the 16th. Suyu calculated that there were still a few days before the start of the competition, and it was still early. This time, some veteran students would also participate. Those people were existences who had truly cultivated to the peak of their nature. If he didn't become stronger, how could he have the confidence to defeat them? He had to go to the Sea of Consciousness secret area. He had opened 44 divine apertures. At this moment, Suyu didn't have so much willpower that he could absorb. Not to mention that the fragment room in the research center was too mixed, he couldn't continue to absorb it, lest he sucked it dry, that wouldn't be good. Sea of Consciousness secret area. 5 spots, at least entering the top 5. On the Academy's side, even if some pavilion elders got the spots, they would probably let their powerful students participate. This included Zhang Hai and the others. If they were powerful enough to obtain first place, they would be able to obtain an additional spot. These people would not mind having more spots. Zhang Hai, the top 100 rankers, fought with Ting Kong without being defeated. He was at the 9th level of the 10,000 stones realm, and his temperament was top-notch. His strength was formidable. There were more than one such person. How could Suyu not work hard to strengthen himself? Putting aside those old students, just taking the new students of this batch as an example, Suyu guessed that Wan Mingze and Xia Huyo were the kind that were close to Ting Kong. Jing Yunhui and the others were slightly weaker, but there was no guarantee that they would have any trump cards. Each of them had a backer, a background, and resources. Suyu did not believe that they would stop moving forward. Continue to open their minds. 261,262. Time passed little by little. Without using blood essence, although Suyu used the body strengthening technique to cultivate, his speed was indeed much slower than before. Blood essence could still speed him up a little. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 783. Chapter 783, Chapter 197 came out of seclusion, met by chance, discussed at each other, subscribed to the monthly 2. On average, he could only open 1 aperture in an hour. His speed was already very fast. A large amount of yuan qi swept towards him, and was devoured, absorbed, and purified by his hundreds of apertures. Outside the mystic realm. A student walked out with a face full of despair. Teacher, is there a soaring realm cultivating in the myriad rock region? They snatched yuan qi too quickly, and that yuan qi ran over there in a huff. This is too that. He wanted to curse. I spent 200 merit points to enter, but before I could cultivate for a while, I was frantically snatched away by others. How am I supposed to cultivate? I didn't cultivate for long before I was forcefully squeezed out. The yuan qi was stirred too much. Elder Nie felt helpless in his heart. He smiled and said, "It might be a mistake. I'll warn the other party. Your cultivation merit points will be halved this time. I'll refund you 100 merit points." "Thank you, teacher." The student was overjoyed. This was not bad. He had actually returned half of his merit points. Although his cultivation had been made troublesome by someone, he had managed to persist for a few hours. It was already not bad. He had profited. After the student left, Elder Nie frowned slightly. This kid was really going to be sent to the soaring zone to cultivate next time. With hundreds of apertures opened, yuan qi stirred. The speed at which yuan qi was devoured was faster than the soaring zone. If this continued, the students in the Qianjun and Myriad Stone area would not be able to cultivate at all. But this bastard only gave 100 merit points every time he came because he was Qianjun. Qianjun who had opened hundreds of openings. Elder Nie did not know whether to laugh or cry. He had never encountered such a scene before. Other than the initial experts, who else would open hundreds of openings in the later stages of cultivation? With this amount of time, Suyu would have long since emptied his 10,000 stone aperture. Is he really preparing to jump ranks and soar into the sky? Elder Nie shook his head slightly. In his opinion, there wasn't much meaning. Even if Suyu could really jump ranks and soar into the sky, he might as well open 144 apertures and enter 10,000 stone aperture. With Suyu's talent, he might as well enter 10,000 stone aperture as soon as possible. Now, he was probably at level 4 or 5 of 10,000 stone. After half a year, this kid would probably be able to jump into the air with his physical body. Moreover, he wouldn't be the weak kind, but the powerful fighters who had opened 144 apertures. Just as he was thinking, old Huang came. As soon as he entered, he complained, "You're still so free. There's too much nonsense in the inspectorate. I just took office and already encountered such a troublesome matter. I was talking about the Great Purge, and those pavilion elders nearly glared at me to death these 2 days. The previous Inspector General, Elder He, did not offend anyone. He was always at peace. In any case, his life was very easy. He had time to drink tea, raise birds, and walk his dog. He could be considered a good person and everyone was used to it. However, when Elder Huang took up his post, he wanted to make a big move. The others were naturally not used to it. Elder Nie smiled faintly and said, "Don't you feel that you're too free here? Then I'll be busy for you now. Aren't you comfortable? Don't give me that." As he said that, Elder Huang said with a serious look in his eyes, "You know what happened, right? What do you think happened? Zhou Mingren isn't that stupid, and Zhou Pingsheng isn't that stupid either. It's normal to provoke Wuxia and Chen Yong, but it involves the entire academy. Do you believe it?" "I don't believe it." Elder Huang shook his head. He wasn't an idiot, so how could he believe it? Not to mention him, even Elder Qi and the others, who were the inspectors that day, didn't believe it either. Therefore, in the end, they only punished the students. In addition, Zhou Mingren himself had lowered his head, so he was removed from his position as the head of the manor. It could be considered as an explanation to the Great Xia Manor. However, everyone knew in their hearts that Huang Hao might really have been tampered with. Elder Huang said, "Who do you think it is?" Elder Nie pondered for a moment and said, "The people from the polytheistic literature department are either Hong Tan, Chen Yong, or, that person." Chao Xiu Xian Pavilion raised his chin. If it wasn't the people from polytheistic literature, then that person was playing tricks. "I think so too." Elder Huang nodded. "That's why I didn't continue to investigate at that time. If I continued to investigate, it would be hard to get any results. I'll first kill the chicken to warn the monkeys and settle the matter first." Elder Nie nodded. He said, "It's enough to maintain fairness. Don't be too biased. Everything has its own rules. There may be loopholes in the rules. If someone takes advantage of the loopholes, that's a problem with the rules. But don't touch the rules yourself." "Don't worry, I know." Elder Huang didn't say anything more and quickly said, "That kid hasn't come out yet?" "Not yet." Old Huang sighed, "He really can stay. He won't stop until he uses 100 merit points to the extreme." As he said that, he quickly said, "I still have to go back later. It's not good for me to talk to the Department of Multiple Divine Runes. Remember to remind this kid not to act recklessly. If he violates the rules, I won't let them off. If Huang Hao's memories were really tampered with, that's against the law." Elder Huang's eyes were unfriendly as he said, "It's fine if there's no evidence now, but there's no way to investigate this thing unless an invincible person comes to investigate slowly. But if it's someone from the polytheistic school, be careful." Tampering with a student's memories was intolerable. Even though he was biased towards the polytheistic school, there were some things that one had to have a bottom line. Otherwise, the entire academy and the entire human race would be in chaos. Lu Wenyan was able to live until today and inherit the 5 generations of divine runes because the rules were protecting him. Otherwise, even if the great Xia Emperor protected him, he would have died long ago. Elder Nie nodded. "I'll remind him." "That's good. I'll be leaving first." Elder Huang did not stay any longer. He had come to convey this message. Since Suyu had not come out yet, there was no need to say anything else. Seeing him leave in a hurry, Elder Nie could not help but laugh. After staying in the secret area for decades, Elder Huang had finally found something to do. This time, it was in his favor. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 784. Chapter 784, Chapter 197, Exit Seclusion, Chance Encounter, Mutual Disgust 3. Hong Tan. Chen Yong. Elder Nie guessed in his heart. Was it them? Or was it one Tianqing? October 18th, early morning. Suyu had originally planned to exit seclusion within 3 days, but in reality, it was far more than that. Including the beginning and the end, he had been in there for a full 5 days. On the morning of the 18th, Elder Nie was drinking tea when his eyes suddenly moved and the door opened. The moment Suyu came out, Elder Nie's gaze changed. It was as if he saw a cauldron. Yuan Qi soared into the sky, incomparably dazzling. Suyu walked over, but in his eyes, he was like a primordial demonic beast pouncing over. Oh! Elder Nie instantly woke up. When he looked again, there was nothing unusual. It was still that Suyu, with a smile on his face and clothes that were as white as snow. Elder Nie took a deep look at Suyu. Suyu was also in a daze. It had been 5 days. He had finally come out. Teacher Huang has left." "Yes." Elder Nie looked at him for a while and said softly, "Have you cultivated successfully?" "Yes." Suyu smiled and nodded. "It's still going well. The Yuan Qi mystic realm is really a good place. A super good place." Elder Nie smiled faintly. Of course, it was a good place. 100 merit points allowed you to cultivate for a full 5 days. This was also the academy. If you were to leave it outside, you would be dreaming. He sensed the mystic realm. Elder Nie suddenly said, when you become stronger, you will need to return a portion of the resources to the academy. You have swallowed too much yuan qi. This mystic realm is not for you to cultivate alone. Tens of thousands of students in the academy are the same as you. This mystic realm will collapse. Su Yu was a little embarrassed and hurriedly said, I will. Thank you, teacher. Don't thank me. Elder Nie picked up the teacup and drank a mouthful of tea. He slowly said, the academy is a place where geniuses eat more. When they become stronger, they will give back some things to the academy, forming a good cycle. If you can eat now, that's fine. Don't forget that these things were left for you by the predecessors. Su Yu hurriedly nodded. The secret realms in the academy were all created by the divine culture of the predecessors. He naturally knew about it and didn't say much at this moment. He would talk about it when he became stronger. After saying this, Elder Nie said again, in the academy, you must abide by the rules. It's not to restrict you, but to protect you. The rules are actually used to protect the weak. Otherwise, if the strong are unrestrained and unrestrained, would there still be the matter of the weak? Su Yu nodded again. When you were weak, the rules protected you. Similarly, when you were strong, the rules restricted you. Don't feel that it's unfair. Also, don't feel that you're the only one in the world who has suffered unfair treatment. Wrong. The ones who truly feel aggrieved are the strong. Su Yu nodded again. He vaguely understood what he meant. Elder Nie said calmly, we can't control too many people, but the academy is still under our jurisdiction. If you want to kill people and who you want to deal with, that's your business. But remember, the rules. Su Yu nodded again. This is how you are, this is how your teacher is, this is how the many divine languages are like, and this is how the divine languages are like. Otherwise, Zheng Yiming wouldn't have been seriously injured and then punished to the vanguard camp. If he doesn't follow the rules, then this is the price he has to pay. You guys are the same. Su Yu nodded his head once more. This time, he said, Teacher, I don't have such thoughts, nor do I have any intention of touching these things. What teacher means is. I am just reminding you guys, I don't have any other intentions. Understood. Su Yu nodded his head. Does this mean that if I am not around these few days, then someone from the multiple divine arts department might have violated the rules of the academy? He roughly understood Elder Nie's meaning. Grandmaster or martial uncle. As for his teacher, his injuries were quite serious. How could he have the time to come out and fool around? Thinking back to how his senior sister had been provoked by someone, could it be martial uncle? Seeing that Su Yu was about to leave, Elder Nie pondered for a moment and said, you should have come out of seclusion for the sake of fighting for a spot. If you're fighting for a spot, the others would also want to fight for it. On this point, everyone had the same goal. Su Yu, you have to be lenient when possible. Some of the older students saw this as their only chance. Their attacks might be ruthless, but if you cannot kill them, then try to restrain yourself. Su Yu nodded and said with a silly smile, of course. Unless it's on purpose, otherwise it's just a fight for victory. Then I can understand. If it were me in my 70s or 80s, I would also be anxious and would not give up such an opportunity. Go. Elder Nie waved his hand. As long as he understood in his heart, it was good. He was worried that Su Yu's attack was too dark and ruthless, crippling a group of old students. Even though those people weren't strong and were regarded as trash by many people, their attacks were too ruthless and didn't benefit Su Yu himself. As for why he was sure that Su Yu was stronger than those people, Elder Nie couldn't be bothered to say more. The moment a calm and collected student, Qian Jun, came out of seclusion, He gave him the feeling of a fierce tiger coming out of its cage. How weak could this kid be? He had opened 144 openings in the heaven-cleaving blade, and this kid had done it in just a few days. It was too terrifying. He hoped that the Divine Runes department would be smarter this time. It would be best if they had a normal competition. Otherwise, if they really sent some people to deal with Suyu, they might not be able to bear the consequences. Junior brother Su. Junior brother, I haven't seen you for a few days. Have you gone into seclusion? Along the way, Suyu met some of his classmates, and many of them greeted him. Suyu smiled and responded to them one by one. The voice transmission talisman on his body trembled for a moment. Suyu did not take it out and continued walking toward the research center. After taking a few steps, a person appeared in front of him and said with a smile, "Suyu, you don't go to class for a few days, and you don't even ask for leave?" Suyu narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, "Teacher Lu, you're really free. How come I can meet you everywhere?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 785. Chapter 785, Chapter 197 came out of seclusion and happened to bump into each other. Lu Hong smiled and said, "I'm not free. I've been busy recently. Do you still need me to host this competition?" "I'm too busy. I just happened to bump into classmate Su. Suyu, do you want to sign up? If you want to sign up, just tell me directly. I'll sign you up so that you won't have to make another trip. There's no need to trouble teacher. I'll go sign up myself." Suyu replied with a smile and did not say anything else. Lu Hong smiled and said faintly, "The earlier you advance to the next level, the earlier you can soar into the sky. Soaring into the sky is the real beginning. Don't you find it boring to stay here and recuperate?" "I will." "That's good. Oh right, Shan Tianhao's grandson has already rushed over to the Great Xia Manor. It's such a pity that your teacher is crippled. I wonder if that fellow will challenge me when he arrives at the Great Xia Manor. I'm really worried. Wu Qi and Hu Wensheng are only one step away from advancing to the next level. I'm quite afraid of soaring into the sky." Suyu smiled and said, "Teacher Lu's combat strength is unparalleled. Why would he be afraid of a young lad?" Lu Hong said playfully, "But he's your enemy, not mine. Suyu, why don't you accept the challenge and have some fun? Teacher has overestimated me. I'm just cultivating my character. Why should I send myself to my death? What a pity." Lu Hong laughed and said as he walked, "I forgot to tell you. I'm going to change the rules of this competition to make it more fun." Suyu turned his head to look at him. Lu Hong did not mind. As he walked, he said, "In order to make the competition more exciting and more fun, I've thought about it. I might organize a 5-person team battle. That way, the winner of the last group will be the winner and get 5 spots. Wouldn't that be more fun? Wouldn't it give the weak a chance to turn the tables? Wouldn't it be filled with uncertainty?" Lu Hong chuckled. "Just in case someone is too strong, the spot will definitely be his. No, I don't want to play like this. I want a 5-man team battle. If I want to play a bigger game, then I'll randomly form a 5-man team. For example, I'll form a team with you and Jai Feng. Isn't that fun?" Suyu turned to look at him with a cold look in his eyes. Lu Hong chuckled and said, "Of course, Jai Feng is just an example. He can't enter the mystic realm now, but there's no shortage of people in the single divine script department. There's no one among you. Suyu, don't you think this competition is interesting?" Lu Hong sighed and said, "It's really interesting. I'll bring my enemies and fight my way up to win the spots. It's really fun." Suyu frowned. What exactly was this guy trying to do? Lu Hong smiled and said faintly, "How about I arrange for Yang Sha, Lu He, and Lin Yao to all be assigned to you? If you win, you can get a few spots. What do you think? Su Yu's eyes turned cold. This bastard. Lu Hong chuckled and said, interesting, right? If I win, I'll split the money. If I lose, I won't lose anything. Anyway, these guys will not be able to get a spot if they participate alone. I'll also tell the others that I'm intentionally dragging you down. TSK, how blissful. F***CK. Su Yu wanted to curse in his heart. How could people be so shameless? Yes, he had arranged for these guys to be assigned to him. In the eyes of the single god text department, this was a blatant scam to scam Su Yu, to ensure that Su Yu would definitely not get a spot. One person bringing 4 pieces of trash, and they were the enemy's trash. What was the point of fighting? If Su Yu had already won, no one would think that Lu Hong couldn't do it. They would only think that those opponents were 2F***king trash. It was equivalent to Su Yu fighting 9 people by himself. If all of you lost, what else could you be but trash? Su Yu was depressed and said in a low voice, what does Teacher Lu want to do? Nothing. Lu Hong smiled and said, we are enemies. Isn't it natural for us to deal with you? But, actually, I'm creating an opportunity for you. Su Yu frowned. Think about it. Your teammates are so weak and their lives are in danger at any moment. In order to save your teammates, it's normal for you to be a little more ruthless and vicious. No one would say that you brought along 4 good-for-nothings by yourself. You shouldn't be so ruthless, right? But if you're alone, you're obviously stronger than the others, and you're still vicious, your reputation will be tarnished. Lu Hong faintly transmitted his voice, we're on the same side. Have you forgotten? Those guys actually dared to dig up my master's grave. Don't I have to take revenge? Little Su Yu, I'm doing this for your own good. Su Yu cursed in his heart. Your ancestors. This bastard was just trying to trick him. No, regardless of whether he won or lost, he had already won. Su Yu had won, and his people would be allocated quotas. Su Yu had lost, and with his contributions, he could go to the single divine text department to claim credit. I, Lu Hong, am so powerful that I could easily take down Su Yu. In this way, even if there were big mistakes in the competition, it wouldn't matter. As the organizer, he wouldn't be blamed by anyone. Otherwise, if Su Yu really won alone and got the spot, as the organizer, the single divine pros faction would definitely vent their anger on him. Teacher Lu, do you believe that I can shout it out loud right now? Shout it out. Lu Hong smiled and said, if you shout it out, others will believe it. Stop fooling around. Su Yu, how can there be people on your side who would arrange for you to have 4 burdens? It's only me. I trust you. I feel that you can win. Look, I have so much confidence in you. Su Yu was so angry that he wanted to kill this bastard. Don't worry, I'll arrange for 3. Who do you think will be the last one? Don't be too strong. I'll arrange for you. If you win, you'll have 1 more spot. Isn't that comfortable? I want 3. I'll definitely be able to get in anyway. Su Yu's gaze was unkind. He stared at him for a while before saying, Teacher Lu, you're so smart. You shouldn't be a teacher. You should go to the Myriad Clan cult. I think you can even become the leader of a cult. The moment these words were said, Lu Hong said faintly, that makes sense. Next time, I'll try to see if I can create a cult and obtain some resources. Not to mention, there are quite a number of people who have done so. You've reminded me. Why don't I pull you in and we can create a small cult together? Su Yu's heart was tired. He felt that he was very smart. At the very least, many people in the academy gave him the impression that they were all noobs. However, this fellow. Had he ever won a battle with him? Last time, even though he had earned quite a lot of merit points, don't forget that this fellow was doing business for nothing. In the end, he had earned a lot. Don't look at me like that. Lu Hong smiled and said, we are on the same side. I will reserve the last spot for you. You can look for me at any time. If you don't look for me, then I will arrange it myself. I am a person who is very moral when doing things. Su Yu did not want to bother with him and walked away. Behind him, Lu Hong chuckled and said, you have to win. I only have one younger brother and 2 students. They're too difficult. Relying on me, I can't send them all in. Su Yu, I'll have to trouble you. I've placed all my bets on you. Su Yu cursed as he walked. He was furious in his heart. Bastard, bastard, bastard. I'll beat him to death sooner or later. Definitely. This fellow was more disgusting than anyone else. His good mood from before was all gone. He originally wanted to secure a spot safely, but now that he was being played like this, how could he be safe? Even if he won, he still had to split the spots with Lu He and the others. It wouldn't be pleasant even if he won. Unless they were all on the same side. Right, Lin Yao is now on my side. Lu He and Yang Sha. Glancing at Lu Hong who had left, Su Yu snorted. It was a competition of acting, right? Fine, let's act well. I'll make your whole family members of the association. Will you be happy then? 1. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 786. Chapter 786, Chapter 198, The Last Person Won. On the way, Su Yu was still thinking about something. Lu Hong. This guy is interesting. He assigned Yang Sha and the others to me. Does he really believe that I can win, or is he just dragging me down? Su Yu finally saw through this guy. Don't talk to him about simple and many things. He's a typical egoist. If it's beneficial to him, he won't care whether you're a single god text or a multi-god text. Single divine one faction. Ha! Su Yu chuckled. There were quite a few people like Lu Hong in this faction. That was true. The bigger the faction, the more troublesome it would be. It was very normal. In the past, when the multi-divine one faction was strong, there were probably internal conflicts like this. Now, there were only a few people. With more people, there would be intrigue everywhere. Wentan Research Center. He hadn't been back for a few days, and Su Yu didn't know if Bai Feng was still in the research center. When he returned, he realized that Bai Feng was probably not at home, and his living quarters were already covered in dust. Hong Tan was probably not around either. Su Yu guessed that he might have gone to comb through the divine inscriptions for Teacher Lu. Only Bai Feng and Hong Tan could do such a job. Su Yu didn't mind. If he wasn't around, so be it. Su Yu suddenly recalled something. He wondered if Grandmaster and Teacher had fed a few great demons. He had not been there for a few days. Grandmaster had returned, and there were many things to do. In addition to his closed-door cultivation, Su Yu had not fed them for almost 10 days. The last time he went, he had gone to ask the water people. He had given the water people their Yuan Qi liquid, but the Diamond Mountain Ox and the others had not given them any. If he counted, those few had not fed them for a long time. Is the Swan Ni still alive? Su Yu suddenly had this thought. It was time to go and take a look. Grandmaster might not have thought of it as well. It would not be good if it died of hunger if it was not fed. The detention area. The door was opened and Su Yu walked to the hall. The Swan Ni was very quiet. At that moment it was lying on the ground, its huge face filled with fear. When it saw that it was Su Yu, it heaved a sigh of relief. It was all right. Su Yu looked at it strangely. You are still alive. The Swan Ni wanted to roar, curse, and tear this bastard apart. But at this moment, it did not have the courage. It said somewhat sorrowfully, still alive. After all, the Swan Ni clan still has research value. That's true. Suyu nodded with a smile. On the other side, the mountain drill ox quickly said, Suyu, give me a drop of Yuan Qi liquid. I have a nest in the heavenly battlefield, and there are many treasures hidden inside. How about I give you a map? Just a drop of Yuan Qi liquid will do. The fire crow shrieked even more sharply, give me a drop too. I have something good. The fire crow clan's flames can burn one sea of will. I have my intrinsic flames to temper your literary soldiers. The literary soldiers are attached to flames and can burn the sea of will of others. Suyu said in surprise, you still have such an ability? Why didn't you say so earlier? Unfortunately, I now know the soul-devouring art. Do you know the soul-devouring art? The innate skill of the soul-devouring worm. That's a trash race. The fire crow hurriedly said, I know this race. Unless it's a mother worm, they are all trash. Only tens of thousands of soul-devouring worms can kill one to soar into the sky. As for my fire crow race's intrinsic flame, it directly burns the sea of will. It's not something that trash races can compare to. What it corrodes is willpower, not the sea of will. One is the source, and the other is the embodiment of strength. It's different. It was really anxious. It had been a few months. It was really starving to death now. Suyu was really not afraid of it dying. How long had it been since he had given it 2 drops of Yuan Qi liquid from start to finish? Suyu raised his brows and said, that powerful? Burning the sea of will directly. Then why isn't your race one of the top 100 races? The fire crow said sharply, our race can deal with civilized masters, but our bodies are too weak. We can't deal with powerful warriors. Their physical bodies and willpower are not compatible. Unlike the top 100 clans, where the fighters are strong, the civilized masters are also strong. But if they encounter civilized masters, the Fire Crow clan is their nemesis. The Fire Crow clan was not considered weak, ranked 418th. This was because their physical bodies were too weak. Just by relying on willpower alone, they had killed their way into the top 500 of the 10,000 clans in the heavens. The Fire Crow quickly said, our race's Fire Crow king used his natal flame to kill an unrivaled realm civilized master. His strength is incomparably powerful. When civilized masters encounter us, even if their levels are higher, they are often unable to defeat us. Suyu asked curiously, then when dealing with combatants, if the opponent's willpower is weak, wouldn't it be easier to kill the opponent? That won't do. Fire Crow hurriedly said, the warrior's vitality is rich and his body is strong. It is difficult to kill him by burning the opponent's willpower. However, a civilized master's body is weak. Once his willpower is burned, he will lose too much of his fighting strength and ability to fight back. It was also anxious now. It could not care about anything else. It continued, I can't give you the natal flame, and you can't learn our innate skill. However, I can refine your soldiers so that your soldiers have the ability to burn your willpower. Is this a martial skill of willpower? It's a godly skill, Fire Crow hurriedly said, in all the worlds in the universe, the martial skills used by civilized masters are called godly skills, and they are activated by divine apertures. And the martial skills of warriors are called elemental skills. Suyu said unhappily, nonsense, I'll use you to teach me. Don't I know this? Also, you said that if you refine my literary weapon, will it be able to burn the soaring sea of consciousness? Yes. Fire Crow hurriedly said, I'm at the 7th level of the soaring sky realm. Although I'm the weakest here, I'll temper your literary weapon for you. Your literary weapon will definitely have the burning power against the first 3 levels of the soaring sky realm. I'll help you temper it once, and it will last for at least a month. Of course, if you use it frequently, the power of your natal flame will be greatly reduced.